Good Friday afternoon to everyone, and welcome to NGLCC Sip and Pitch Fridays, this week hosted by our dear friends at Johnson & Johnson, fantastic NGLCC corporate partner. Thanks to them for hosting, and thanks to each and every one of you for being here with us. My name is Jonathan Lovitz. I'm the Senior Vice President of the NGLCC. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and as part of our ongoing work to always make sure NGLCC programs are as inclusive as possible, we encourage you to click the ... right next to your name in the video chat bubble there, or on your name in the participants list, and click rename and add your pronouns so we can always encourage an atmosphere of inclusion and belonging for everyone. So thank you so much for that. Welcome to everyone whose first time it is with us for a Sip and Pitch Friday. We're so thrilled that you're here with us, especially on a big week with our friends from Johnson & Johnson. And a big shout out to Bill and Natalie and everyone at Team J&J for helping make today happen. We're thrilled to have you with us. A welcome and a special shout out and hello and welcome to our incredible judges for the day. I'm going to invite them to come on and say hello and introduce themselves. We'll start with our host for the week from J&J. Paul, can you hear us? Are you with us? Not a problem, Paul. We'll come right back to you. I know you're working with a whole bunch of people. Oh, there we go. Hello, welcome.
You unmuted me.
There we go.
I'm not sure if you have video because that's probably shut down. So I'm not sure how you did that.
No, Paul, we see your square, but we don't seem to see you in it.
Yeah, it says that you have you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
There we are. Let's try. Yeah. There we are. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Paul, thanks so much for being with us, and to everyone at J&J for hosting this week. We're so thrilled to have you with us. Why don't you introduce yourself, talk about the work you do at J&J?
So my name is Paul.
And you have with you.
Yep, I'm Paul Saltiel. I work with the consumer division of procurement for North America. And on the phone, we have Bill Gunn, who is our Chief Procurement Officer of Worldwide Consumer. We have Natalie Jaworski, who's the Vice President of our Global Supplier Diversity and Inclusion. And with Natalie, we have Eliza Gonzalez and also Charlene Vickers, who also support citizenship and diverse supplier diversity on there. And we also have Mike Ewer, who's also our Director of Supplier Sustainability. So we have kind of a full-blown global supplier diversity and inclusion throughout the entire group. So a lot of great people who will probably give me a lot of feedback to give you feedback. So it just won't be me, it'll be quite a bit of folks behind the scenes.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you. We're so glad to have you and the whole J&J posse. It's wonderful to have a big group with us. Priscilla, welcome with Compass Group. It's so great to have you with us. Introduce yourself to the gang.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Wallace. I'm with Compass Group. We're food and dining, and I've been in diversity, working on diversity for the past 20 plus years. I'm excited to be here. We are in our first year as national partners with NGLCC. So we look forward to continuing to grow that platform. So on today, I'm excited about being here. We're doing a lot of work around diversity and inclusion. A lot of opportunities coming our way to make sure that we're fully integrating all of our diverse classifications, especially with the emphasis on LGBT. So happy to be here, hopefully get some good information, being able to share knowledge with you as we continue to go.
Thank you so much. Beautifully said, and great to have you with us, and thrilled to have you in the NGLCC family, that's for sure. And Claire, welcome. Claire, can you hear us okay?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, and welcome. So good to have you with us. Claire from Capital One, great to have you on the line, and thanks for being a great NGLCC partner as well. Introduce yourself to the gang.
Of course. Hi, I'm Claire Good. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am on the supplier diversity team at Capital One, and I am the program manager for Catapult, which is one of our development programs for diverse-owned businesses. I'm very passionate about advocacy within the LGBT community. So happy to be here today and really excited to hear everyone's pitch.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being with us, and a huge shout out to the Catapult program. We've had some great successes with LGBTBEs going through it, so thanks for all that work. And a reminder to everyone who's joining us, we've had a lot of new folks join just in the last couple of minutes. Welcome to NGLCC Sip and Pitch Fridays. We are streaming live on Facebook, so everybody wave to everyone all over the world watching us. And we are recording this program, of course, so you'll always have access to it, along with all of our outstanding programs from Webinar Wednesdays, past Sip and Pitch Fridays, Crossroads and Conversations, and so much more, all available at nglcc.org/blog or on our YouTube page. And of course, as we go throughout the afternoon, you're going to hear so many great pieces of information on how to grow a business, how to pitch correctly, and who knows, you might just hear some great life-affirming information today. We always have great conversations as we have the Sip and Pitch Fridays. And so we want to hear from you. Use the chat box to share your comments. The Q&A box will be available as we go throughout the program, as well as some really great polls from J&J as we continue throughout the afternoon. So a very interactive afternoon together, and we look forward to hearing from you. So do keep the good ideas coming in the chat box. A couple of rules and guidelines as we start today. Don't worry, this is all in good fun. So these are rules just to help guide a seamless conversation today. Each of our contestants will have 5 minutes to pitch, and only one person from each company will be pitching. My fault, I hit the wrong button. There we are. Well, each judge will, the judges will collectively have 10 minutes for feedback and Q&A, and we'll also be able, as conversation elements and questions come in from the audience, we'll be able to share those as well. No presentation, no problem. This is an informal conversation. We've had everything from cocktail napkin ideas to fully fleshed out projects ready to go to market and everything in between on Sip and Pitch Fridays. So we are here just to share where your business is and get some great feedback on your presentation skills. If you're not speaking, mute your microphone. We'll also be able to help you from the back end here with Team NGLCC to help you with your mics. We will provide warnings at the 1 minute and 30-second mark. Our outstanding team member, Lauren Schweppe, is the star of the show with the countdown clock that you'll see in your gallery view of speakers. Lauren, are you able to hear us?
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Lauren, thanks for being with us as always on a Friday. Lauren will give you the verbal warnings because it is pretty tricky to try to make a ding sound through Zoom that you can all hear in real time. So Lauren will give a verbal warning, and then I'll chime in right at the end of your 5 minutes to let you know your time has expired. But be extra kind to Lauren. She's only shouting to make sure you hear her. This is a judgment-free zone. We're here to help grow your pitch. It's a collaborative environment. It's about having fun and watching our community do great work. So with all of that out of the way, we're going to jump into our first presenter today, Milo with Improv Ventures and Public Dynamics. Welcome. And feel free to take over the screen whenever you're ready, Milo. Just unmute you there. There you go.
Mute.
Excellent.
Ready to start?
All right.
And here we go. I'm Milo Shapiro, the president of Improv Ventures from 2000 until now, and I'll be sharing about the 4 aspects of my business: team building, motivational speaking, public speaking coaching to help others to be better speakers, and Simon Says for adults. It's an odd mix, and I'm going to tell you my story chronologically. In 1990, a computer programmer named Milo discovered the fun of improvisation and fell in love. I started studying and then performing and then teaching improv. It became clear that my safe and secure IT career was not the right path for me. But improv? Well, in 2000, I left that safe job and founded Improv Ventures and its team improvising program, using improv games as the basis for team building. Improv skills help us to improve listening skills, building upon the ideas of others, creative problem solving, and other business-related activities. Attendees from all kinds of organizations were pointing out to me how the games we just played paralleled their last staff meeting or a problem with a customer. And through the games, we can work through such issues in a fun way. After a while, attendees started saying, hey, this is great for us groups, small groups like 25, but you need to do this with big crowds like 300 as a motivational speaker. So I joined the National Speakers Association and discovered a lot of meeting planners were craving speakers who could both share ideas and get the audience active. I developed my program, We Gotta Fail to Succeed, where about half the time is my sharing ideas and stories on change, risk, and the need to fail sometimes as part of long-term success. The other half of the time is me leading everyone in paired games from their seats, games that support the points from my stories, both fun and value there. We also created a two-man program called Laugh in the Fast Lane, where we perform 10 improv games that prove 10 points related to that client. Audiences love that it's a show. Management loves that the lessons sink in. So I had the team building and the keynoting. Well, attendees started lingering after my speeches and saying, hey, Milo, I really enjoyed you up there, and I want to be an effective speaker too, but I'm not. Would you be willing to coach me and maybe my staff? With that prompting, I started a coaching and training program called Public Dynamics, eventually backed by my 2 books. Both in person and through Skype and Zoom, I coach people in everything from organizing material better to balancing stories versus data to using their faces and their bodies and their voices more effectively and much more. I've had clients go from scared to speak to their own staff to speaking to Congress and the White House. My clients include C-suite middle managers, sales reps and entrepreneurs, engineers and scientists, students, and a lot of others. Anyone who needs to be as effective as possible when they communicate. So whether they want to be better at speaking in general, handling media situations, shine in a Zoom meeting, make great online content, or simply ace that special speech, I'm here to help them, sometimes right up until the night before. Because Toastmasters is great, but it's a slow way to learn, and classes, they're one size fits all, and you get a small percentage of the trainer's attention. But coaching, it's personalized for your goals and your needs. And who learns well while people are staring at them? Doesn't it make more sense to show them how to be effective first and then get them up in front of people? A lot of people don't even know this kind of coaching exists, so there's rarely an RFP for what I do. I also get a lot of requests for people who want me to come and speak about the book, so I created a keynote speech, also called Public Speaking, Get A's, Not Z's. It's like a crash course in everything that's in the book, everything I could cover in 60 to 90 minutes. With these 3 parts of my business in place, the coaching grew to become the biggest piece, but I still enjoy all of them. Lastly, a client came to me one time and asked, could I lead 300 people in Simon Says? Well, I studied the form and the tricks, and it went great. Since then, I've led other groups up to 800 down to a winner in only 14 minutes. And this simple game is great. It wakes up a conference, but it also helps us focus on good listening skills, because that's what the game is about. So these are the 4 main parts of my business. And yes, we can talk offline about how we do them remotely too, because that's so important nowadays. So the only question left is, which of Improv Ventures' ways of bringing fun and learning to staff is the right fit for you? Thank you.
Thank you, Milo. A great presentation to start off the afternoon. Let's start with Paul and the team at J&J as our fantastic hosts for the week. Why don't you kick us off with the feedback?
Well, thank you very much, Milo. Being most of my career in sales and selling, and I just went into procurement the last 4 years. I think our team was very thrilled that the use of visuals in really conveying what your company does makes it more interesting, because I think that's the hardest part. Sometimes we get tied up in text and we kind of read things, and what you did is actually make it feel like we were there. So kudos for that great work.
Thank you.
The other thing is, with COVID, how has your business kind of changed in making this more of a virtual type of approach? Can you give us some feedback on that?
Sure. I was already doing some distance coaching as I got clients outside California, as far away as Tokyo, and it was working great. The only challenge with the Tokyo person was being awake at the same time. What's changed with COVID is that now I'm 100% virtual. I'm not willing to see people even locally, and happily people expect that now. So it's been an easy transition on the coaching. There's a little bit of a loss sometimes in not being able to go and reposition someone or go like this and show them something, but it's almost balanced out by how quickly I can say, let me bring up a PowerPoint and show you something. And I've been creating modules that have allowed me to actually be more powerful in some ways than if we were side by side. So for the coaching, it's been a great transition. For the speaking, it's been a little slower because not everyone is wanting a virtual speaker yet. And it's a little clunkier having to go into the breakout rooms to play the games and things like that. We're adapting to that. What hasn't gone on quite as well yet is the team building. I've had one offer where they said, oh, it just doesn't sound like as much fun. We're going to save you for after this is over. And I understood. But I think for up to 25 people that I can see at once on Zoom, that's why I'm saying 25, I can lead shorter days. I'm not going to do any 4 hours or 6 hours, but it'll be fun to come in and do an hour with your staff or 90 minutes with your staff. For the first time ever, I'm offering 30 minutes. I wouldn't normally want to do that, but for Zoom, it feels more appropriate. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so one of another question from one of my teammates is how does this go down when it comes to cross cultural groups? Do you get the same levels of engagement from international participants?
I've had some really neat experiences. I can't measure. I've never had a measurement tool to say, is it better or is it not? But I've had some really great experience with English second language people. There was one game, for instance, in a team building event where I had a woman who was English second language, an Asian woman. And when we started playing with a gibberish game where we speak in a fake foreign language, she came out of her shell. It was like seeing a side of her we'd never seen before. And I heard someone say, is that Sun? And I said, that's what Sun is like when she's not hampered by trying to find the right English words. She's that bright and clever and outgoing in her mind. It gave them a different perspective on her. So far, my experience with English second language people and other intercultural things has gone very well.
Great. I'll turn it over to the other judges since we only have 10 minutes.
Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Great feedback. We appreciate it so much. Priscilla.
Sure. Thank you so much, Milo. Great
Thank you.
presentation. I love your energy. I like your excitement. You can tell that you're very passionate about what you do. That is what clients look for when delivering the type of services that you offer. So you mentioned I actually checked out your website.
Oh, thank you.
And I like your content that you presented while explaining, so we can actually get a look and feel of what you offer. I would say I do think that maybe the photos or visuals, you may want to tighten those up a little bit because some were a little fuzzy. So that
where the images were, or what I said about them was fuzzy.
The quality of the images, especially of people. Because if someone see themselves up there and they say, oh, that don't quite look like me, it's a little fuzzy, sometimes people can draw a conclusion that can supersede your overall product. But I have two questions for you. The first one is, how do you customize your games and activities to meet the various different industries out there or corporation needs or organizations? For example, I'm in food and beverages. And so I'm just wondering, how would you customize a game and activity to reach my audience? Sure. And this is the second part for the sake of time, and I'll repeat it again if I need to. How do you address, like you can offer a training session or coaching session or public speaking session, but not everyone is engaged. And we've heard the old saying that people's attention span is only good, maybe 15 minutes. So how do you capture that Johnny that's wandered off and just really not there? So let me know if you need me to ask that again after you answer the first question.
Yeah, I will try to. Actually, it's the first one I'm trying to remember. It was about, how do I customize?
Yeah,
and then remind me if I need to. So I wouldn't customize so much for food and beverage as I would customize for what does Priscilla say is going on in her organization? Because a different food and beverage organization might have different challenges, but you might have the same challenge going on in your group or your presentation that an engineer in Qualcomm is. So I wouldn't go by industry. I would be talking to you in advance, either as a one-on-one coaching client, or if you were the manager bringing me in to work with team building, to say, what are your challenges going on? And then I would customize in two ways. One is I would look at my games and see if I could pick out some that are a better fit for what you say your challenges are. And also on the fly, if I sense that a group is really jazzing and getting a lot, or the discussion is good out of one game, I might say, I'm going to do more of this game, or I'm going to pick out another game I hadn't thought of that continues to build on this, because this seems to be resonating, and I'll cut out another game later. Another question I always ask up front is on a scale of 0 to 10. If 0 is, I don't care if they have any fun at all, it's all about the learning. And 10 is, I don't care if they learn anything, as long as they have fun. Where are you on the continuum? Because sometimes we're looking for different things, and that helps me also pick out the right feel and mix for that group. Give me the gist of the second question again, because I was just thinking about your first answer.
So my second question was, how do you capture the attention of those that could be in attendance but really not motivated?
Sure. It's so different if you're talking about coaching, team building, or an audience. I'm going to go work my way backwards on that. On an audience, it's just not reasonable to expect that if you've got 300 people in an audience, that if there are 20 who didn't like it, that you should change, because it means you're connecting with 280, and you just can't get everyone as a speaker to love it. It's, if you've got 80 and 90%, that's really good. So the audience situation is different. In team building, I'm going to try and figure out what's going on with a couple of people. Maybe it's because they seem more shy, so maybe I'll do more things where they get to watch more, or more paired exercises so they aren't getting the center focus. And I usually do that for a while too, to feel out the group, to get that. But if you got someone who's sitting there like this, yeah, it can be challenging. And sometimes on a break, I'll take them aside and ask what's up with them. For coaching, it's, if the person comes to me, I just never experienced that. If someone's willing to pick up the phone and call me and pay the budget, they're engaged. So once in a while where I might see that is when someone's boss sends them. It wasn't their idea. And we need to just figure out what aspect of it is working for them. How can I make it a little more playful? Have I gotten too playful? What do they really want to see their improvement in? And while I touch on what the boss gets, if I can bring him or her along in the direction they want, they start buying into me, and then I can get other material in there as well. Hope that covered it.
It did. Thank you.
Thank you, Milo. Thank you, Priscilla. Really, really great feedback. That was fantastic. Thank you. Claire.
Great. Great presentation, Milo. I echo what Priscilla said. You have such a wonderful energy that comes through the screen. It was very fun to watch. What I would say as far as feedback goes, so I do agree with Paul that it was good that you didn't have a lot of text on the slides, and that you just told that story yourself. I would say that some of the branding looks a little dated. So maybe some of that you can maybe update some fonts or photos, or, you know, maybe play with that a little bit. I love that you had a clear services offering. So by the end of the presentation, I knew exactly what it was you did, exactly what it was that you offered. But my question would be, who is the main person that hires you? Is it someone that hires you to come do a training for their team, or is it individuals that come to you? How does that work?
With team building and motivational speaking, it's usually, let's go one at a time. For speaking, it's usually the event planner. Once in a while, it's the person who wants to hire the event planner. So it can be a kind of 50-50 on whether it's a professional seeking someone out for that boss. I get the admin sometimes who is only asking questions and taking it back. But sometimes it's the manager because they want that hands-on. So it's how that meeting is being structured, whoever is planning it. With team building, it's almost always the manager. Once in a while, an admin as well. But it's someone who wants to see a difference in that team. Occasionally, it's someone who has contacted HR, and HR has my name on file because someone has said, hey, HR, who do you recommend? And for coaching, it's about 80% people who say, I know I need this improvement, whether or not my company pays for it. But sometimes it's someone at the company saying, we got this person, can you help them? I would have gone longer, but I saw the clock stop, so I thought I should stop.
Claire, anything more to add, Claire? Those were two great points.
No, that's it. Great job, Milo.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you all. Milo, great presentation. Great way to kick off the first presentation of Sip and Pitch Friday. We appreciate it. Let us get ready for our second presenter, Antoinette Merchant with Prideful and Inclusive Staffing. Antoinette, are you ready?
I am ready. Give me 1 second to sort of pull up my presentation.
It's Friday. You can have 2 seconds.
Okay.
And it's Friday in 2020. I think we could all give each other 5 seconds, okay? And a hug, and a lollipop, and a puppy.
Awesome. You're just giving it all away.
I think we need it, don't you?
Ew. Okay.
All right. If you're ready, share screen is all yours.
Okay. All right. Can everybody see? All right, great. Hello and welcome. My name is Antoinette Merchant. I am the owner of Prideful and Inclusive Staffing. And I always like to start off my pitches with a bit of a quote. And I like to say that when we work together, when we stand together, we can succeed together. I thank you so much for joining me today. You could have been anywhere, but I'm so glad that you are here with me today. I want you, as we begin this presentation, to visualize yourself and your firm in partnership with Prideful and Inclusive Staffing. Who we are. Prideful and Inclusive Staffing is a certified woman-owned, minority-owned LGBTQ business. We're more than just an employment agency. We are a firm that prides ourselves on bringing our whole self to the table, and we encourage others to do the same. We share our value of diversity within our candidacy, and we like to make sure that the opportunities that we present promote the same initiatives within recent grads, parents, seniors, minorities, LGBTQ plus communities, veterans, and disabled workers. Our mission is to examine and redevelop the working relationship between firms and talent, creating a partnership that better serves our communities in a socially responsible way. This means that we avoid waste at every possible opportunity. We don't overcharge for staff, and we make sure that our policies and procedures for recruiting staff avoid time wasters. Our customer promise, Our customer promise. We promise to deliver our services ethically and sustainably beyond our obligation. As a small minority business, we strive to create prolific partnerships between firms and diverse communities. Our employees are extremely passionate about working with firms that understand who they are and where they hope to go in the future. Staffing is one of the most unique businesses in where everyone has the opportunity to win. The client, the employee, and my business. Some of the client benefits include our passion. We love what we do and the people that we work with, and we fight for them on a regular basis. We offer insights to our partners on what it is that our candidates are looking for as far as quality of life, company culture expectations, and work-life balance. Simplicity. Our firm believes in making the seamless transaction. This means that when you work for us, you can sit back. We'll take over the reins and make sure that everything is handled from there. Connectivity. We stay connected. You don't have to go looking for us. When you hire us with the understanding that we have gathered all the information that you need, and we will find the talent that you're looking for. Our services include staffing, consulting, and managed services. We pride ourselves on providing amazing opportunities, especially to our recent grads in the professional industry. Those industries include marketing, accounting, and managed technical services. Consulting. We provide business strategy and facilitation, project management, financial and statistical data analysis, expertise you can trust from seasoned professionals.
1 minute.
Why choose us? Our firm is built on self-expression. We take pride and great pleasure in representing people of color, recent grads, the LGBT community, and others. We have a unique insight into what those individuals are looking for, and we share them with everyone we can. Our value proposition includes attracting, recruiting, and retaining the talent that you're looking for. We have that small business magic that includes flexibility
30 seconds.
and agility, resources, and the small business network. And that's it.
Excellent. Great presentation. Thank you so much, Antoinette. Claire, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right, great job, Antoinette. So my first question is, where and how do you find and recruit your talent?
So I use several standard methods, such as like LinkedIn, but I also use some non-standard methods. I'm a part of several different communities across the board, including, the National Human Rights. I am a part of the NAACP, the HBCU community as well, and I reach out to those individuals to find talent that you otherwise wouldn't be privy to or able to access through standard means. Which gives me a very niche sort of employee or candidate.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the simplicity of, your whole look and the slides. I did notice you sometimes you read the slides a little bit. And I would say maybe just have more of a strong closing, like at the end, be like, here is how you can contact me. Like, how can we get, like, let's get started today, kind of just like an action item. Like, here's what you can do to work with me. Like, here's how we can get started.
Gotcha.
And then I also would have loved to see a little bit more, because I know you spoke about how you can provide a seamless transition to companies and a simple onboarding process. I would have loved to hear some examples of, what you do in those spaces to really set yourself apart from other staffing agencies. But great job. And we all know that this is something that's very needed in our world today. So great job.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Claire. Priscilla?
Yeah, Claire, I really, not Claire, I'm sorry, Antoinette, I apologize. I love your logo. I like the name of the company. I like the simplicity. It looks really, really polished. It looks where it can apply to many types of audiences. So I think you did a great job with that. And what you offer is a service that is needed. One of the things that you may hear often is sometimes when, you often hear that some categories are a little bit more saturated than others. So I was looking for that unique identifier, that unique service niche that you have that nobody else has. And sometimes it could still be the same product that you offer, but what's that niche? What's that buzz that separates you from the rest? And especially when you're working in such a competitive market. Overall, I would just say, just remember to make a connection with your audience as much as you can. It's not easy talking in front of a camera. I saw you rocking back and forth. Then I saw the top of your head.
I forgot you guys could see me.
Your hand over your head. It's not easy because, hey, I got a jogging suit on and I wouldn't get lip gloss on. So I get it. But the point is, you're making a pitch, you're selling yourself, and what is it that you want to leave with people to remember you by? And that's so very important to do more practicing on that. As far as what your core offerings, like I said, I would have liked to have heard a little bit more, that separated you from the rest. And so I'm just curious, within your list of clientele, who are you, I would just say, who are you really focused on or zoomed on? Are you just across the board for all industries?
Right about now, we're currently working in the marketing space. So I'm working a lot with recent grads, some of the seniors within the marketing space. And so it's really, really exciting because both of those individuals are really hungry or super excited to do more for the other. So it's a great working relationship and sort of like everyone wins. The company wins because they have talent at a price that they can afford, along with the senior who's sort of managing and overseeing those individuals. The senior is really excited because they get to work and teach the other younger candidates, and the younger candidates are super excited to be working with the senior where they can ask questions without bugging the client and really take their skills to the next level. I'm super excited because I get to provide, everyone this opportunity to work with these amazing individuals. And they all come from different backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds. So it's really, really a great opportunity.
Awesome.
Also working within the medical space, because what's really important for me is diversity, right? Making sure that there are diverse candidates in all of these professional services type industries. And as far as like, psychology is concerned, there aren't a lot of diverse candidates, and Turning Point Behavioral Center is really struggling with trying to diversify their doctor, or I should say licensed clinical social workers. And I'm assisting with that. So it's really incredible.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Priscilla. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, Paul and Team J&J.
Hi, great job answering that, and thank you for presenting. The one thing that we saw was definitely your presentation was very professional. Everyone loved your logo. And I guess starting out with a diversity spin was a good thing, because a lot of companies, obviously corporations like ourselves, are looking to expand in this type of area here. And we always have difficulties really sometimes finding different groups of people to join Johnson & Johnson, for example. The one thing that I think, if you saw Milo's presentation, there was a little bit more storytelling, or kind of talking about yourself and how you started and how you kind of evolved and where you're at today. I think that's critically important, because that's what people remember from presentations is stories. So always think about, how can I make people visualize the actual work that I'm doing? Now, when it came to the capabilities part, it seemed like it took a little bit long to get to your capabilities. And what myself and the team was looking is to say, can you get those activities up front a little bit faster? Because remember, you only have 5 minutes. And so sometimes you may have an elevator speech type of only 2 minutes. And so you have to really be very tight in saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I can benefit you going forward on here. Now, there was some questions, there's a lot of buzzwords that you had in there. And sometimes, do you really need to have all those type of buzzwords to resonate with your client going forward? So think about that. And I think I agreed with Priscilla and Claire about, could you do a little mini case study to say, here's some of the activities I've done. And I think that's critically important, because you're trying to validate why we should continue to talk to you afterwards, or any client continues to talk to you. Is you have to say, think of what Milo was doing. He was showing activities that I'm doing, and this is who I do. The same type of format is necessary when you're really trying to convince somebody to build that credibility factor with them. Now, just give me a second here, and just making sure I captured anything else, because we have I think what we found here is, you have a niche. I think the team really feels that is really untapped. We typically, when we're recruiting as a company, we're going to colleges and other type of associations, but what you bring to the table is truly unique, and you can cut the time and really be able to be very narrow and focused to be able to deliver these people to corporations much more quickly. So I would say expand your network, and you almost have a roster of a lot of different people who have maybe different interests in different industries, that then you can be able to attack that when it does. So again, we want to thank you from the J&J team for the purpose behind your business. It resonates with us tremendously, and probably with all the other judges and the corporations they support on here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback.
Great.
I've taken great notes, so I'll be fixing my presentation.
Oh, and that's one other thing I wanted to say, because you didn't know you were on camera. What a practice now that you're going into kind of video chatting, and we're doing Zoom, is that you can, and even for Milo and other people, have your presentation actually on your desktop and put your words, whatever you want, because we see your face, but on the side you can have your Word document or whatever you want to say to help you, make it easier for you to deliver what you really want to deliver. And that makes you feel like that you're actually talking to the camera, but your notes are right there with you, because I saw you turning sideways to look at some of the details. you can put it right on your computer, right in front of it, because the camera is facing you. Okay.
Thank
Great
you.
advice. Thank you.
And Antoinette, be sure you're looking in the chat feed. Great comments from Robin Hicks at BP, for example. They're also looking to recruit from HBCUs and would love to be engaging the networks you're in. So we'll make sure, as always, everyone's emails and ways to connect are available in our Wrap Out blog and for our presenters, because I think you're now that folks are even more aware of the great products and services you have available, you're going to get a lot more interest from the NGLCC network. So great job. We really appreciate it, Antoinette. Olivier, are you ready? The floor is yours.
Hi, yes, I am. So let me share my screen.
Also, nobody fall for it. He's from South Carolina. He's just faking it.
Do you see me? No.
We do. We see, oh.
Oh, no, but do you see? No, I mean myself.
Turn your camera on. There you go. Excellent. And then go ahead and put your presentation up and be sure to share your sound.
Okay. Sorry for that.
No, whenever you're ready.
So do you see everything now?
Yes.
Perfect. So hi, my name is Olivier Jamin Changerot. I'm a classically trained pianist, composer, and passionate about music. I'm the founder of OJC Artisanal Sound, a sonic branding boutique that brings brands to life by designing unique sonic identities through the power of music and sound. So today we are bombarded by so many content that our attentions get diluted, and brands are craving to reconnect more genuinely with their targeted audience, especially during this difficult time. And music does the job. When you hear music, oops, sorry, trying to get the, oh, here we go. So when you hear music, it releases dopamine in your brain and activate areas of your brand where memories, behaviors, mood are triggered and controlled. In addition to that, the world is going through a sonic boom. Podcasts and audiobooks are exploding. Smart speakers and voice activity device are growing exponentially. And brands want to be present on this new communication platform and make a better use of audio by really use music as a marketing tool. So if I ask you what sonic branding is, most of you will relate to sonic logo or jingles like this one. And you would be partially right. But of course, it's more complex than that. Think about a flexible system that can be optimized through various communication touch points in a consistent manner. So basically the process in a nutshell is to translate the essence, the personality of a brand into a musical DNA, and then adapt it to create musical assets. And you have examples on your right, how you can really infuse and create a musical ecosystem that is consistent. We don't have a lot of time, so I cannot give you many examples, but I want to talk about just one. Listen. So I'm going to stop right now because hopefully you recognize the James Bond theme. Since 1961 and to present, many very famous artists have interpreted this theme, and they brought cohesiveness to the brand. They created excitement, and also they connected the listeners right away. And that's what sonic branding does. It enhances recall, it builds trust, music gets under customer skins, and when you play with different musical parameters, you can really influence your consumers and trigger a purchase intent. Since the launch of OJC in June 2019, we are proud that we already have a number of clients, from biotech to tech companies to high-end food, small, medium-sized businesses, but also solo entrepreneurs. We also have created meaningful relationship with local and national organizations. If we project ourselves in the 5 upcoming years, we would like to be in the top 5 sonic branding boutique in the US.
1 minute.
As you can see, sonic branding is a nascent market. There's not so many competitors in the world, 40 only, 9 in the US, and none in Boston, where I'm located. You can also see on these slides that sonic branding is for any kind of industries, B2B, B2C businesses, any size. And since I don't have much time, I would like to give you something about the hearing sense, which is the only sense that cannot be shut down. You can close your eyes, you cannot close your ears. You cannot stop listening, and sound is always on. Thank you.
Fantastic presentation, Olivia. Thank you so much for that. We are so glad to have you with us. We want to end this first round with our host team from J&J. Paul, why don't you get us started?
So we loved your presentation. We all said wow when we saw the background. It was very professional. And one of the things, I guess, we were kind of, I think the educating the audience exactly what the science is behind that was critically important. Obviously, driving the jingles and talking about the DNA, I thought it took a little long, and I think some of the groups to figure out, okay, we got that right away. In other words, you can almost get this done really tightly, maybe in less than 5 minutes, of course. But the question is, what exactly do you do? So in essence, tell us, okay, you gave us the end result, but how do you get there? How do you interact with companies? How do you interact with brands? Yet you have to kind of educate people, because this could be a totally new approach that many companies may not even thought about before. I know PepsiCo actually did a great sound thing. I remember a whole study on that where they put sound in there. And so, help us get us to that next level in spending a lot of time of the science. Great, that one slide was great for us to go, yep, we get it. Now say, what do you do? Now, you also talked about the competition, that there's not many people out there, but the question is, do you really want to introduce that there's other companies out there? Because my next question would have been, well, who's your competition? And you may have to name now 8 different companies in the US, and I may reach out to them and I may select them over you, because now you've kind of opened up the door. So you can make that tight by just saying there's very little companies in this space. And so that way we are not, as a procurement team, going, there's somebody else out there maybe we should be looking at, or somebody bigger, or somebody has much more success. Because you had slides that showed a lot of success, it looked like. How do you bring that forward to say, I did this work, right? You kind of discounted it at the end. And that's what you should be doing up front. You should be saying, here's the science, here's how I do it, this is the companies I've had the successes, and give us some examples of their sound that you've done, and maybe that will resonate with the audience too, and go, oh yeah, I heard that one. Because again, you're building credibility with the audience.
Well, these were great feedbacks. Thank you so much. So yeah, for the process, I just had 5 minutes, and I can explain to you. So basically, it's the same process as the creation of a visual branding, where at the end, you give to the company a brand book. So it takes about 2 months with several workshops where you start doing an audit of the company and really trying to understand their competitors, their audience, if they have used music in the past, so you do an audio audit as well, and you try to understand their personality, attributes, and once you have this broad picture, you can start creating sound mood board, so people can start reacting of various music genres, and at the end you start building what I'm calling the music DNA, which has 2 main components: the sonic logo, and you heard like some examples, and what I call a sonic theme, which is really the DNA of the company. And you use that then to create and to adapt any kind of adaptation depending on the need of the company. So
that's great. Yeah, incorporate what you just said into that slide. That's you said exactly what we're looking for. So get that into your 5-minute slide in saying this is the process that I go through in order to deliver the finished good product that you do.
Okay.
Okay.
I have this slide ready. I just didn't think I should put it, but thank you.
Great feedback, Paul. Thank you so much for that. Priscilla, would you like to go next?
Yes, I would. Wow, your presentation really caught me off guard there because I was one of those people that Paul mentioned trying to catch up. But it still was awesome. I love what you do. It is such a unique, innovative, something you don't see every day. So it's definitely an attention getter. I even like the name OJC, Artisan of Sound. And just visualizing here, for example, we're planning a huge summit coming up, probably less than a couple of weeks, so we already started filming. But I could actually visualize your sound as our background as we're going between different sessions and doing things virtually. And like you said, it's understanding the corporation DNA. But once I start hearing the sound, I start seeing different things. But as Paul mentioned, I think leading into explaining to us what you do to reach the core of what we do or any other corporation, I think that's what was missed. Mm-hmm. So now that you've elaborated or shared more with Paul, I get more of a bigger picture. And I'm just curious, are you finding that, have you considered are you doing any work like with large summits and events to help?
Yeah. When I started before thinking of this kind of industry, I worked for a company in a tech company, and they needed some audio elements for a conference, like when someone get on stage to cheer up the crowd, and then between sessions, between speakers. So I created this kind of a package for them, but it wasn't related to who they were as a brand. So I can do that, but really now my goal is, first of all, to go through the process I just explained. And once we have that musical DNA or musical footprint, if you wish, you can really do anything. And I think it's important to do that first phase. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to me,
And it's just one other suggestion. And like I said, I'm still learning what you do, so I can say whatever and be just off as two left shoes. But I was just thinking about, we're all working, a lot of people are working remote and virtually, and they're trying to adapt to their current environment and still keep the same level of professionalism. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering if are you aware of any type of study or to how to motivate people in different areas that now have had to change environment through what you do?
I'm not sure I understood the question. Are you talking about now we live in a virtual world?
Yeah, like how can your music that you create help continue to motivate and innovate people in different environments but that are in corporate America to be able to perform at their best?
So again, once I create the musical DNA, I can create any kind of music genre. So if a client tells me, okay, I have many Zoom meetings, and before the meeting, I need to put like a corporate, 2 minutes video with a very energetic kind of a music, I can do that. I mean, and it's very easy. If I have another client who said, okay, I'm creating an awareness campaign, and it's all about rare disease and how parents deal with that with the kids. So I can also create something much peaceful with just a piano, a string background that really start moving people,
Right.
So okay. I can do it. This is why I use the James Bond theme as an example. because if you hear all the variations from, the first singers, Nancy Sinatra to Madonna or Adele, who have adapted this theme, you will hear the sound is different, the energy is different, but it sounds the same.
Understood. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Priscilla. All right, Claire, close us out for round one.
All right. So you did a great job. That was really fascinating. It caught my attention right away because I was just kind of like, oh, what's this about? Also wasn't super familiar with sound branding or anything like that. It seems like you have a sustainable model in this time because a lot of people, like you said, are going to be moving towards more digital marketing, whether that be on podcasts or Pandora, Spotify. I guess my comment, it kind of echoes on Paul. So I really would have loved to see an example of, or heard an example of your work specifically. So you showed like the Netflix and like all those sounds from big brands that we all know and recognize. And so you said, so what is sonic branding? Well, it's this, but kind of. And then I was like, wait, so then what is it really? So I just would have loved to see just like a case study or a project or something that you did.
If we had 10 minutes, I could have done that, I'm sure, because you have to play different music excerpts, so you can understand how you can create this audio universe for a brand. I encourage you, if you're interested, to look at what MasterCard has done, because they just did an amazing job by just doing so many different versions of their sonic DNA. When you do a purchase, or when you look at any kind of advertisement around the world, they ask like singers from different culture to adapt their sonic DNA, and it's really wonderful.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. I'm not sure if you dropped your website in the chat, but if on your website, I can
send you the link of the MasterCard, because I created
that was your project.
No, I wish. No, but I created an article about MasterCard, because a lot of people like you were asking, but I need to hear something so I can understand. So I will drop in the chat box the link, and hopefully it will be more clear for you guys.
Yeah, or I was going to say, even on your website, if you could.
Oh yeah.
If you have like a portfolio on your website, that's.
I do. Yeah, I have some study cases. Yes.
Perfect.
Sorry, Claire. I was saying we've got a lot of excited folks in the chat box who would like to learn more, Olivier. So please do put your contact information, and we'll make sure Milo and Antoinette do as well. A huge thank you to our round one presenters. That was terrific. We'll give you Zoom jazz hands to celebrate. That was so great. Thank you to all three of you. And now we are going to scoot right into, well, first of all, actually, let me say thanks again to our sponsors and partners at Johnson & Johnson for this week. Great to have you with us, to Paul and team, and to Bill and Natalie and everyone who is a part of making this happen. Thank you. We are so excited to start with round two of Sip and Pitch. We're going to dive right back in with our next set of presenters. Don't worry if you've got to get up and take a little break, a little stretch. Go for it. We're here all day. You know who I am, Jonathan Lovitz. I'm the Senior VP at NGLCC. My pronouns are he and him. Thrilled to help guide all of you together through today's conversation and our fantastic pitches. Most importantly, our three outstanding judges who just gave such great feedback on behalf of them and their companies. Let's have a quick shout out and hello once again to Claire. Claire, say hello to everyone. We have a bunch of new folks, actually about 20 new folks who joined us just since the start of the last round. So introduce yourself one more time, if you would, Claire.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire Good. My pronouns are she, her. I work on the Capital One Supplier Diversity team, and I am program manager for one of our business development programs called Catapult, which is for diverse-owned businesses. It actually culminates in a pitch competition. So I love being here and seeing all of your pitches. Everyone's done a wonderful job so far. So I can't wait for round two.
Thanks so much. We're thrilled to have you. Priscilla Wallace with Compass Group and Food Buy, welcome. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Happy to be here. Hi, I'm Priscilla Wallace, and my pronouns are she, her. I support our supplier diversity initiatives for Compass Group. So I'm looking forward to hearing some great pitches. We are desperately seeking more opportunities to become more engaged. We are new members, new partners of NGLCC. So we're happy to be here and support this initiative.
Thanks so much. Thrilled to have you with us. And Paul, who's got a whole posse with him, 10 or 20 people behind the scenes. Paul, welcome. And thanks again to J&J for hosting this week. Introduce yourself and let us know who you have with you.
Sure, I'm Paul Saltiel. He, him, and his. I handle the North American consumer category family for marketing for Johnson & Johnson. And like we talked about before, we do have a big posse. I have our Chief Procurement Officer for Consumer Worldwide, Bill Gunn. I have Natalie Jaworski, who handles our VP of Procurement of Citizenship. And two of her great direct reports, that's Charlene Vickers, who handles the supplier and diversity and inclusion for our company, and then Eliza Gonzalez, who handles citizenship. And with her is Michael Ewart, who's actually our sustainability supplier director.
Fantastic. Well, and Charlene, Liza, Michael, great to have you with us, and the many more joining you behind the scenes. A shout out to anyone who is new. To a reminder that we are live on Facebook, so say hi to the world out there. And we will have this recorded program available for you for anyone who is not able to join in full today, along with all of our recaps from previous Sip and Pitch and Webinar Wednesday programs. For those just joining us, you can read the full rules and guidelines on the screen here. But we are going to continue with 3 more outstanding 5-minute pitches, along with judges' feedback for 10 minutes. And we are going to then, and then a reminder to you all to not go away at the end of that, because we're going to go seamlessly right from Sip and Pitch into community and conversation. We're going to have some great breakout group talks, some wonderful poll questions with Johnson & Johnson, and it's just a great chance for us all to end the week strong, connecting with one another, providing support, feedback, guidance, and just connectivity. So without any further ado, let's have our first presenter of round 2 of today's Sip and Pitch, Kapanui Nails. Lynn, are you with us? Can you hear us?
I think I'm here.
Hey,
hello. Can you hear me? And let me see if I can share my screen.
Yep, go right ahead. I'll turn this off. You could take over.
And excellent. How does that look? Okay to everyone?
Looks good. I think you just need to hit presentation mode and you're ready to roll.
Okay, where is presentation mode?
Or that works, however is easiest for you to scroll whenever you're ready.
Well, I'll scroll.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
I think, let me tell you, yeah, this works. Okay, aloha. Everyone knows what happens when you open a bottle of nail polish. The fumes clear the room. Husbands ask wives to take it outside. Little children are kept at bay. Anything that smells that bad can't be healthy for us, and it isn't. If your customers are searching for a fumeless, healthier polish, the search is over. Aloha, I'm Dr. Lynn Lamb, and with Terry Lamb, we are the co-founders of Kapanui Nails, located on the Big Island of Hawaii. Between the two of us, we have over 50 years of experience delivering healthcare to women. So the desire to educate and empower women is deeply ingrained. The concept of Kapanui arose from when one day we learned that traditional polishes are considered environmentally hazardous waste, and they're also extremely hazardous to our health. Knowing that women were exposing themselves every day, we decided to look further. And through our research, we found that we heard women expressing the same negative experiences, primarily a vicious cycle of covering their dry, yellowed nails with the exact same polish that did the damage in the first place, and also having anxiety and guilt that the noxious fumes couldn't be healthy. We knew alternatives could be made, and so we were driven to give women what they deserve. And we created a complete line of true body-safe, planet-safe polish products. Every one of our products is truly non-toxic. They do no damage to the user's nails, they pose no health risks, and they can be poured into the ocean or onto the land without risk to natural life. It is well known that consumers are reconsidering all of their purchases, from household goods to cosmetics, to food products, but nail polish has escaped thorough scrutiny. The time is coming when more consumers will understand the same concerns that we have, and they will find that Kapa Nui is the epitome of the clean and green beauty trend today. Hawaii has always led the country in environmental responsibility, and we are proud to further that commitment. Kapa Nui Polish System is a line of unique products that were specifically formulated to work together. What sets us apart from the very few alternatives of other truly non-toxic products is our patented base and top coat. This product transforms our water-based polish to meet the long wear and high performance that women have come to expect. Our bestseller and entry-level product is our starter set. This gives our first-time users everything they need for success. Our base and top coat, our easy to apply minimal odor polish remover, and our unique reusable polish remover pads. This is combined with the customer's choice of colors. We have over 35 deeply pigmented, virtually odorless Hawaii-inspired colors. The shades and names of these colors celebrate the beauty that surrounds us and also memories of growing up and raising our families in the islands. We tell each customer we hope they can see and feel the aloha when they wear our colors. So many women experience damage to their nails, like drying and splitting and yellowing from their previous polish products. So we created our Get Back Your Healthy Nail product. This is our hero product, our repair and strengthener. This product is a 100% natural and has medical research supporting its efficacy. It's excellent for the regrowth of nails for those who have suffered from chemical damage such as lacquers and gels or just simply from aging. During our time in healthcare, we created multi-specialty healthcare centers from the ground up. We established multiple private practices and both worked administratively in large healthcare systems. We have brought to our business skill sets in quality control, process creation and management, human resources, customer service, software application and marketing, and more. Kapa Nui Nails launched in August of 2019 with an e-commerce only business. Since that time, we have enjoyed a number of notable press features. Our customer base spans equally across ages 20 to 60 with a consistent 15 to 20% return rate. Our growth is healthy with gross sales increased 450% from our second quarter to our fourth quarter. We are looking to expand nationally and internationally. Presently, our capabilities are 30,000 units per month, and we have the financial, technical, and manufacturing expertise to increase this to scale up as needed. Nail polish
30 seconds.
Is the #1 beauty product sold throughout the world with an estimated 1 billion plus bottles sold yearly. The market looking for us is growing daily as women question the safety of their damaging and highly odorous polish. The overwhelming feedback from our customers is thank you for creating this beautiful and high-performing option for us. We hope we can help your customers end their search for a healthier polish, and you can experience the loyalty and appreciation that we have. Thank you for the opportunity, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was terrific.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and start with our host for the week at J&J. Paul, you want to take it away?
Yes. So what a difference from the first group, where when we start off a presentation, it's all pictures, so very little words, but you were able to obviously convey visually what your company does. I think the biggest thing that we were wondering along the way was, is this your own brand? Is this a private label brand? And so that was the only thing that it took a while for you to get there. My past background, actually, I used to own beauty salons. And so I obviously resonate with the smells of acrylics and all that. I used to hate it. And so I was kind of listening to you and saying, wow, I can see this product being a national brand, but also doing private label, working with CoverGirl, Max Factor, even us, Neutrogena Cosmetics, for example. So are you thinking about creating a private label? Because that's where I think, working with a national manufacturer like a CoverGirl or a Max Factor or, Revlon, especially Revlon is kind of a nail polish business. What do you want to do in your scalability? Because you talked about, it still sounds like it's a private brand that you want to make big.
Yes, it's still a private brand. I think we do have some anxiety about scaling too quickly, and we are, at this point, we have not looked at considering private labeling to other companies. But that's a consideration.
Yeah, and so I think, so what's your actual pitch? This is your pitch to a retailer wanting to take it in, like a Walmart?
Yes, right.
Okay. And so what I think is also important is what channels of distribution. Okay. So you may say that I may be better off getting, and here's my other laugh, that my team's laughing. They know I have beauty salons. My brother's been in the beauty distributors business for 40 years. And so the question is your channel more about beauty salons? So think about, if you want to get a higher priced product, because it sounds like this is premium, because you started off with the salon, and I get it. I know you're saying at home, people do this themselves too. But the question is, a lot of the type of work that they do, smells are typically getting acrylic nails and
Right.
Figure out exactly from a branding perspective, do you want this to be a premium cost? Because remember, if you're just launching this and being price comparative to the normal nail polishers that are in the market, you may have an opportunity to be a premium player because you're offering something very unique. Now, I'm not sure if you talked about patented type of opportunities. Is the product patented? Or
No, only the base and top coat is patented.
Okay.
And there's some reservations about patenting the others for exposure. Yeah.
Right. And so the other question from my sustainability team, Mike, is you talked about that it's very environmentally friendly. You can put it in the ocean. What makes this so environmentally friendly?
It's actually, it's a little difficult. It is water-based. So gels and lacquers are considered solvent-based.
Okay.
And so the very, very foundation of what it's made from is completely different. There's one chemical in our polish, and that's an acrylates copolymer emulsion. That's it. And then pigments. And if you're aware of ethyl acetate, methyl acetate, and all the others to make nitrocellulose work for all other gels and lacquers. And so if you take the acrylates copolymer and pour it in the ocean, you can actually drink our polish. It doesn't taste good, but you could. But all the other products, our remover, our base and top coat, they all, from a chemical basis, have no risk. One has irritation if you have large exposure to certain parts of the body, and that's it.
Yeah, so think about claims. One of the things that we do at Johnson & Johnson, we feel that getting claims, say, for example, non-toxic, whatever that may be, could be your differentiator from the branding perspective on here. And also think about, where do you want the product to be placed? Okay, it's a very competitive environment in the retail industry, with all these national brands that are on the shelves. So how do you stand a difference between all the national brands and yourself? Think about where you should be merchandised in the store, because if you're going to pitch this to a retailer, you really have to have a lot more of the 4 Ps, talking about price, placement, even profit, because that's really the differentiator for retailers. Is if I'm going to take another brand off the shelf, put your brand, am I going to make more money? So think about that. I'm going to stop because I'm not giving the rest of the group enough to give feedback. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, thank you very much.
That was great, Paul. And a good reminder, just in thinking about the wide array of B2C store public-facing products that are out there in the NGLCC network. We have a great webinar that our friends from Target help us do on how to understand getting your product to store shelves, and a lot of what Paul you just said about the types of scalability and marketability questions are covered there. So want to encourage everyone to check that out on our YouTube channel. But let's go to Claire now with the next set of comments. Claire?
Right. Great presentation. I love this product. The branding was really cute. I think it would do a great job appealing to your target customer. And I'm just going to speak in the sense of business to consumer. So do you offer products like shellacs or dips? Because I know that's mostly where nail trends are going right now.
Right.
Like, do you offer shellac or?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I didn't understand the question. No, we don't. This is all we offer. Yeah.
Okay, just the basic.
Yeah.
nail polish.
We find, talking about our target, really, we have a huge demographic, but really we find we do very well in health food stores.
Mhm.
We're looking at Sprouts, Whole Foods, because it's women who are, and I know the nail industry is massive, but it's really women who are beginning that clean beauty trend in terms of nail polish. They're looking to polish their nails, but do it in a better way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that with my demographic, with millennials, that is
Right.
a huge thing that we take into consideration. And I can imagine that the younger generations will too. I know
Yes.
cruelty-free is the first thing I look for
Yes.
if I'm buying a beauty product. So that's great. I love that you had a clear problem and solution. So, here's the problem, here's our solution. Are you still e-commerce only?
We are in a few retail. We were going to canvas retail in January, but that didn't work out with COVID. So yeah, when we've kept that, retail, at least for this state is rather dead. So we've limited it, but we're gearing to look further. As I said, we are looking at larger Whole Foods and Sprouts type of things. They're interested.
Yeah, and I don't think like e-commerce only is necessarily a bad thing.
Right, right.
That's how most people shop today. But
Yeah, we are questioning that.
Yeah. Do you ship nationally across the US?
Oh, yes. And that's the beauty of this. You can air fly it all over the world, all of our products, no prohibition.
Awesome. And this is something, it's also for NGLCC as well. So I know WeBank, they do a yearly holiday guide, and I think NGLCC does it too. Am I right, Jonathan?
And a Pride guide, and yeah.
So this would be, I would love to see this in the Pride guide.
Sure.
Yeah, just for holiday gifts or anything like that. But very cool product. There's definitely a demand for it. So great job.
Thank you very much.
Priscilla.
So as I was listening to Claire and Paul, I could just visualize your product being into some more of the high-end clientele. I can see your product in like Whole Foods or Fair, different places where people are very specific and want vegan-free, green type products and services. But you mentioned earlier that you had 35 colors that you're marketing and selling. I also went out on Amazon, because when you said e-commerce, I went to see if your product was out there, and I did see that price point. And I was like, woo!
Yes, we are a special
shift of focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And as I read the ingredients and the content, it helped understood why that was that price point. So my question to you, if you are, and like I said, it clearly shows that you're looking for a certain clientele. How do you create a color line that works well for different cultural type ethnic groups?
That is an excellent question, and we have struggled with that. We live in a very, actually, we don't live in a highly multicultural community, surprisingly. There's a significant population of the Hawaiian community, of which we have people we work with and see every day and so forth. I'm fourth generation in the islands, so I'm very used to that. But you're absolutely, African Americans, we do not have Black representation. It's very difficult. And matter of fact, we were trying to recruit a young woman from the Bay Area in terms of asking her about color. That didn't go well. She didn't really decide to end up living here, but it is a problem for us in terms of, and even male involvement. We've tried to be diverse that way. And we find it very difficult to address all parts of the community at the same time. And that's really from probably a marketing perspective where we realize we really would like some assistance. If our weakness is anything, it's in consumer marketing and probably social media, because it's an age thing. But yes, I think that's a very insightful question, and it's a concern for us.
Okay. And the second part to that is, just you have a great product. I'm just concerned about how, because when people, your product requires me to read. It requires me to understand. I see nice, beautiful nail polish, but how do you create all of that in a snapshot without you expressing what goes into your product, that I can even drink it? You know, how do you help me? How do you pull me in and captivate me just by me taking a quick visual of your product without you having to explain it to me?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's our other struggle, is education. Probably the only polish that really takes education. And women aren't used to reading about nail polish. They just, and when our few retailers, we really educate them. That's why we do the starter set. They don't just sell bottles of polish. Or they do, they have it very, very highlighted on their signage. We're entering the Japanese market, and we're looking at literally pictographs that simply explain this is step 1, step 2, step 3. And that's why we use the word system, which is, we struggle. We don't want to use that because it's complicated. People don't want to deal with it. But on the other hand, we don't know how else to tell people this has to be used together, because our remover and our base and top coat can be used with lacquers, but lacquer, base and top coat, and remover do not work with our product at all. Matter of fact, it won't even take it off. So that is something that is constant in terms of, and if anybody has suggestions, we're very open.
So I have a suggestion, and I'll wrap it up. So my suggestion is, what I've learned is what I can't say in words, I can say in visuals. So maybe some different video clips of how to apply your product, utilize your product. Let your videos speak for it. Your pictures are beautiful on your PowerPoint, but just 30-second videos about your product to help people understand. That way you can appeal to multiple types of markets. And if you're going to appeal to an ethnic group, consider having those type models in your picture.
Yes, thank you.
The great feedback from all three of you. Thank you so much. And Lynn, and really, of course, for everyone, it's a great, a lot of the things that you were asking about needing some assistance with, some of the marketing, the social media, even some of the cultural and LGBTQ inclusion elements that can make this even more expansive, are all things that your fellow suppliers are perfect for. We've been seeing even had previous sip and pitch competitors who were who had previously had gendered clothing lines that became very much more gender neutral because they saw that's where the market was heading. And so there's a lot of growth to be had here. We've got some great experts in here. So do reach out to the NGLCC supplier diversity team. We're happy to make some recommendations of folks to talk to.
Thank you very much.
And thanks again, and great feedback from the judges.
Okay.
All right, Anthony, with all things AP, are you ready, sir?
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead and take the screen when you're ready.
Let me share the screen. Just 1 second. Actually, 1 second. Just make sure it's a negative.
There you go.
Oh.
That's all right. Try one more time. Hey, don't worry about it. All right, there you go.
Okay, so again, thank you for having me. It's actually my first time on the Sip and Pitch. So I never really have seen it before. But anyway, so again, thank you. My name is Anthony Paradiso, and I am the owner and founder, president of All Things App, and my mission and vision is for everyone to really always be your authentic self. I primarily work in the HR industry, so human resources, employee relations. And about 5 years ago, I was introduced in a volunteer position to help out SHRM's, in case you don't know, Society of Human Resource Management is a SHRM. They asked me to handle their matters in New Jersey. So I took that role 5 years ago and kind of spearheaded and really got into the D&I space. So I created my own company called All Things App, and basically what I do is my expertise really is inclusion, diversity, equity, and whatnot. So I give presentations and all that good stuff. What I first do really before I get into really anything is kind of just go a little bit about who I am. I think it's good for people to know who I am and whatnot. So mainly, you could see it from there. But one of the things that I like to share are my vulnerabilities. I think we need to start doing that as people, as when we're telling our stories, we need to really explain what our vulnerabilities are. And one of mine actually is a speech impediment stutter. I had one when I was younger. I'm not so much now. It's mostly when I'm nervous. But but I like to before I was very embarrassed of it when I was younger, and now I embrace it. It's who I am, and I make sure that people know that. I'm no longer afraid to admit that, as well as even coming out. I came out in my mid-20s, so I go over my coming out story, and I really try to strive when I give my presentations, workshops, for people to really to be their full authentic self. Don't be embarrassed of who you are. I was certified by the NGLCC just a few months ago, so that's been great, and it's been really a lot of great feedback, and just being a part of this is great. I'm going to play a short video just to kind of give you a little bit more about me and whatnot. Just one second. I didn't really. I started All Things App to allow people to be their full authentic self. And why I have that passion is really because of my own story. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. It's hard. It's challenging. It's scary. Around 24-ish, I had the guts to come out to yourself, and then you come out to your family. And luckily, everyone accepted it. I was fine, but still I was nervous. The days of keeping politics aside or not having these discussions at work is really gone. And I think people now are starting to realize that in order for us to move the needle in the right direction, we have to have these tough conversations at work. There are certain things that are just human rights. Black Lives Matter is a human right. LGBTQ is a human right. The employers need to give employees the tools and the resources and the time to do all this. That's where a consulting company would come in and help do that, create that time. We have to start small and then kind of go from there. I think having the conversations with senior members around unconscious bias, having conversations around inclusion, also just being able to listen. It's very hard to disagree with something when you don't know how that person feels. It is you give people the opportunity to talk with one another.
1 minute.
Be much more productive at work. Going to make mistakes. I may make mistakes. The person the CEO or the CFO will make mistakes, but that's part of the process. I want to make a difference. I want to create a world where people can just be who they are. You're worth the time to tell your story. As simple as it may sound, it's really talking, and it's really just having someone there to facilitate that conversation.
30 seconds.
I go a little fast. Sorry about that. I didn't realize my time. But just to go quickly, what I do is when I give my workshops and presentations, I go into inclusion, the importance of inclusion. We've heard diversity, but obviously inclusion is just as important, if not more. This is a quote that I provided, and also I do give unconscious bias workshops. I do mental. We're in COVID-19, so mental health is a huge factor, and then also just being comfortable with being uncomfortable, having those conversations. And most important, be your authentic self.
Perfect.
All right, the time flies there. I didn't even realize it.
Nailed it. Thank you. That was perfect. Priscilla, why don't you go ahead and start us this round?
Sure. Well, I was actually felt like I was watching a TV show for a moment there. I wasn't ready for it to end. I liked the name of your company, All Things with the Z, AP. I love that. I like Be Your Authentic Self, which speaks volumes right there. And then hearing your story helps me make the connection of why you do what you do. And I could see your heart and passion just in your video, as well as when you shared in the beginning. So I would just say you just keep on the right track on what you're doing. Keep your passion up. Perhaps maybe a little bit more coaching around sharing that passion, because especially for if you have a targeted audience that you're trying to reach, the topics that you cover in your work is real, it's issues. And right now there's a huge awareness for more diversity and inclusion initiatives. around racial equality and accepting people so they can be their authentic self. So I think you're in the right vein for opportunities. I just think that it seems like there could still need to be a little bit more season in there, meaning a little bit more polish when presenting. And because what people, the first minute, that's when people are going to either gravitate to what you're saying or they're going to turn you off. That's just it. That's just the nature of the beast. Mm-hmm. But you have a package that you can sell that is needed for corporate America. It's just that presenting it without that video and hearing more about what you did at the end, I wouldn't have known what you did. But when you start sharing that and really showing yourself in the workplace and working with people to reach that, helping us understand that you cover a variety of topics, then I was able to really connect. So like I said, and then the little logo of the mask, that's different. Because see, I'm looking at what you're saying, your name of your company, all things AP, and then be your authentic self, and then a mask. So I really needed that story behind that to be tight, mm-hmm. so that I could relate to who you are and what you do. Does that make sense to you?
Makes perfect sense.
Okay. All right. So I would like to hear more about your training around unconscious bias. We're in the marketplace right now. So I do look forward to getting your email. And I do your email and your contact information afterwards. And I just want to continue to learn more about some of the clients that you are working with now. So can you share from that perspective?
Oh yeah, sure. So I've worked educational institutions, a lot of SHRM, which I mentioned before. I do work with SHRM on local, state, and the national level. Other organizations. I don't want to name them because I just more.
You don't have to. I just want to. Are you doing a lot of work with corporate America, more like nonprofits or community related? Maybe that's the best.
Actually, it's kind of even. I really it's I would say it's all of the above. Okay. I don't really have one particular group that I'm trying to gravitate towards. Okay. So it's really all. It's just whoever really needs the service. Okay.
All right, and so when you prepare a package, do you send this video along with it, or do you just do a capability statement of who you are?
Depending on the client, depending what they want, because some clients don't want much, and some clients do. It depends on who I'm talking to. I can kind of feel who they are. If I feel the video is helpful, then I would certainly send it. If I feel the video might be a little it won't matter, then I don't. But it's also on my website. You know, when you go on my site, it's right on the top portion of it. So when you go on the site, you could see the video. So I would, but in most cases, yes, I would share the video for the most part.
So one last little bit of feedback. So the content that you were trying to talk through rather quickly at the end, perhaps incorporate some of that in your video so that we can see, okay, these are the things you cover, A, B, C, D, et cetera, and then being able to collaborate that with your story. It's helpful, would be helpful.
Makes sense.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Great feedback, Priscilla. Thank you. And you're all doing all the heavy lifting for me. Thank you. You pointed me to another NGLCC webinar that might be perfect for you to look at, as well as anyone else who's thinking about video needs. The team from Corporate Filming, who's a supplier that helps create B2B or B2C facing small snippet sales videos, did a whole workshop on how if you were to make one for yourself, what you should do for it, but also how to engage, how to ask the right questions to engage services to have someone help you build one. So I encourage anyone who's thinking about, especially now with YouTube being such a valuable sales portal, making sure that you have all the right video assets. We can definitely help anyone find the right folks. Claire.
All right. Great job, Anthony. I love that you shared your story and that you were so vulnerable. I think that that's really important. I do think, wait, can you guys hear me?
That was my fault, sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I do think it did take a little bit long to get to your product. So I was hearing your story and, you know, I'm like, I love this, but what do you do? So I would maybe open with just like, that's kind of like about me slide, and just introduce yourself real quick, let people kind of read over that themselves. And then, you know, go into, and here's what I do, like, here's why this side of me, or like this, like, here's why I have this passion for what I do, because this is my story. And then you can go right into your services offering from there. Also, I would have liked to get in the presentation, who is your customer? So now that I know that you do the diversity and inclusion workshops, I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's B2B and, you know, corporations and unconscious bias training and things like that. But I would have liked to see in the presentation, you know, who your customer is, maybe examples of your work or anything like that. But I think in today's world, you know, there's definitely a demand for this. You know, we're looking at D&I consultants all the time. So I really think that if you could just get this polished and tightened up, you know, you have a great product and a great offering, and you have that personal experience to back it up with your story. So good work. Yeah, just, you know, have that product offering more upfront. You did a great job.
Awesome, Claire. Thank you so much for that. Paul and Team J&J?
Yes, so thank you, Anthony. We were, first of all, very fascinated. We saw the words appearing in the bottom of your slide. Is that purposely done that way, the voice recognition?
No, through PowerPoint now they have a function now where you can do it's automatic if you put it on.
Great.
There's no added cost.
All right. Well, we never saw that before, but it almost resonated about, you know, diversity and inclusion, and saying, hey, there's deaf people out there, you know, that this could be something kind of nice. So that was kind of a nice feature. We thought maybe Zoom was doing that. So thank you for clarifying that. I think I probably want to reiterate, I don't want to reiterate all the feedback. I would probably say when you kick off your presentation, you should tell us what your business is all about, okay? Then go into your story. So think about, what do I do and why do I do it? Because then you can get into your personal story that you went with the video. Now, I was kind of, I'll say, disappointed, because we have you right here. We want you to tell your story. We don't want to see it through a video. We want you to do it. And you can use the PowerPoint slides to show the pictures in the background of your family and so forth along the way, because that's what personalizes it more. It makes you feel like you're a real person. Then you can get back into your company and pretty much say, are you a one-man show? Okay, you know, how big are you? And then get into, obviously, the capabilities of what you do. So again, you get it. You understand that, hey, you waited too long to really get to the capabilities. And again, case studies or experience that you have to provide you the credibility necessary for the audience to pay attention. Because I think Priscilla kind of said it. If you don't capture the audience up front to say, why should I be listening to the rest of the story, you lost them, okay? But that's critically important on here. If you don't feel that you're a selling person, your personality, then it's okay to get other people to do that activity. So, you know, so again, I'm not sure if you're one person or multiple people. If you don't feel comfortable, you get nervous when you're doing presentations, then someone else could do it. However, if you're the only person, then that's where I would say you need some coaching to really get you down to understanding presentation skills and also selling yourself.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Great feedback, Paul. Thank you, and really a fantastic presentation. We're so glad to have you with us, and thanks for, you know, sharing your vulnerability, sharing your story. We can never have enough stories out there of leaders in our community being vulnerable and telling how they got where they are by being their true selves. So thanks for all the work you're doing. It's appreciated. And like Priscilla said, there is a market and a need for it now more than ever. So we are excited to see you continue to grow. Thanks so much for us today. And now for our final pitch of the day before we get to community and conversation, not just a great presenter today, but also a published author on the NGLCC Writers Circuit that we encourage you to check out. Dr. Steve Yacovelli, go ahead and take the screen, my friend, and take us away with your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go ahead and pull up my PowerPoints. Thanks for the commercial too. That was awesome. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. I am Dr. Steve Yacovelli, but before I get into me, I want to ask you a question. If you could make your workplace more inclusive, would you? I'm going to make a guess, given who's in the room, that it would be a resounding, yes, of course I want to make my workplace more inclusive. And you actually might be doing some things already within your workplace to foster a feeling of inclusiveness and belonging. But sometimes it takes that external expert who focuses on inclusion and leadership to just push your message over for those who maybe aren't hearing it quite well, or on the other side, to really help support those true champions in your workplace who are talking about diversity and inclusion. So hello, as Jonathan said, my name is Dr. Steve Yacovelli, pronouns he, him, and I'm the owner and principal of Top Dog Learning Group. I'm also known as the Gay Leadership Dude. So by that title, you know 3 things about me. I'm gay, I self-identify as a dude, and I'm really passionate about leadership. Now at Top Dog Learning Group, we do a couple different things. So our doghouse sits in the center of 3 specific areas: leadership and organizational development, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and change management and resilience. And we provide solutions that really touch upon one or really all 3 of those specific areas. And I'll get into those in just a few moments, but it is things like training, both virtual and when we could do face-to-face, webinars, keynotes, and some executive coaching sessions as well. Now, Top Dog's been around since 2008. And in that time, we've had the pleasure of working with a lot of great leaders, both at large Fortune 500 companies, as well as some not-for-profits and mom or pop and pop shops. And this is actually what led me to write the book, Pride Leadership, that Jonathan awesomely promoted. Pride Leadership Strategies for the LGBTQ+ leader to be the king or queen of their jungle. Now, while Pride Leadership has received a lot of awards and accolades, got 2 awards so far, since it came out in 2019, a lot of our client partners are really focusing on the content in Chapter 3, which is being consciously inclusive. And we've taken that content with my 25+ years of experience and turned it into several offerings that you can use to help foster inclusivity in your workplace. From 1-hour virtual keynote sessions to self-directed, what we call learning tapas training programs, to a 4-part online learning experience called Being a Consciously Inclusive Leader, to our 8-week immersive LGBTQ+ leadership program called Pride Leadership, the Lions program, which Lions stands for a leader's immersive opportunity to nurture strengths. Now, all of our solutions have been crafted to not just support a shift or change in behavior from participants, but they've been designed from their beginning for the adult learner in mind in a workplace so that they can engage in the content, remember it, it's enjoyable, and they can walk out of that classroom, whether that be virtual or otherwise, with actionable things that they can do to improve their job as well as their corporate culture. Now, we don't just do training, we do experiences. They foster a lasting change for participants and your workplace, and also support your workplace's desire to have a more inclusive and sense of belonging for everyone around them. Now, within our offerings, I'm just going to kind of dive deep just a little bit in our 1-hour virtual keynote sessions, because we're doing a lot of those, as you can imagine, during this weird and wonderful time. So we do a lot of different types of things, but each one is about 60 minutes long or so. They're informative and they're engaging, and they cover a lot of different topics, such as the 1 hour being a consciously inclusive leader. So it's kind of the short version. The top 6 leadership competencies everyone should know and grow. Being resilient in times of change, like now, and embracing your shiny unicorn, fostering authenticity within your workplace. And that's just to name a few. Now, each of these 60-minute sessions is delivered online, so yay, social distancing, but we also include some sort of participant guide. And that's important because, one, allows people to take notes, but it really allows people to go ahead and look at the references, dive deeper. There's activities involved, so it's not just such a keynote.
1 minute.
But really an experience. We also offer a follow-up session where participants can take that experience from the keynote, apply some sort of activity that's done, and then go into a professionally facilitated session. So just kind of one of the ideas there. And just to summarize, as you might recall, we're stupidly passionate at Top Dog Learning Group about diversity, inclusion, inclusivity, and fostering a culture of belonging. We work with a lot of different folks, big and small, and we use right now just virtual, but hopefully in the future, we'll be looking at ways to bring ourselves back to the space with our clients and really help foster that inclusive environment. So thank you so much for your time and your energy. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel to reach out to us. Otherwise, thanks again, and lead on, rock stars. Thanks.
Fantastic presentation. Dr. Steve, as always, thank you for being with us. We're going to end with Paul and the team at J&J as our host today. So we're going to go ahead and give Priscilla the first word here.
Awesome. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
We can tell that you do this quite often.
A little bit, a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I may even have one of your books from one of my NGLCC events that I attended.
I did do a keynote.
Yep, you did do a keynote. So I guess my thing is kind of share more about what you're doing in this space right now. Are you doing any work with Black Lives Matter at all that you can share?
It's a fantastic question. And, I'm purposely not doing anti-racism training because I have partners who are just phenomenal at it. I don't want to try to get in because it's the cool thing. What I am focusing more on is the concept of being consciously inclusive. And yes, that's unconscious bias. When I used to teach it at Disney, I had some gentleman in the back room was just like, if it's unconscious, I can't do anything about it. And ever since then, I'm like, no, let's turn that to be more active. So I'm really trying to just share the story that way, which really goes in tandem with Black Lives Matter and all the other inclusivity that we're doing. So it's the same means to, it's a different means to the same end on fostering that inclusivity here, but not specifically around anti-racism training, if you will.
Okay, awesome. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic, Priscilla. Thank you. Claire?
All right, well done. That was a wonderful presentation. Very concise and to the point. You had an impressive list of clientele, which I know for larger corporations, that's one of our first questions is, have you worked with a large corporation before? Can you scale to meet our needs? And I love that you had the use of humor kind of peppered throughout your presentation. It made it a lot of fun. I'm just curious, why is your website steveonamazon.com, or is that just where you go to buy the book?
No, my publisher taught me that little trick. If you have a book, especially because the book is me as well as the business, but if you have a book, that's a redirect, it'll go right to Amazon. So I can easily remember, oh, it's steveonamazon.com, just go for it. Because no one had that URL, so that's kind of the trick with it.
And that's just to buy the book?
That's just to buy the book, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't have a ton of feedback. You did a really great job. I guess just following up on Priscilla's question, if you were to, go on an RFP for a company, or they said, hey, we would like to do some unconscious bias training, and they mentioned, really wanting to focus on inclusivity of Black associates or customers.
Yep.
Would you take the initiative to find, one of your partners to go in on that RFP with, or subcontract for that?
Oh yeah, so at Top Dog, I say we, and it's not just a lie. I actually have consultants, but I use 1099 so I can ebb and flow. And I have I call them my army of awesomeness, my Top Doggers, and I have others that I've done in the past, especially for women's initiatives. I have my female Top Doggers that come in. I have worked with my partners in color, and so yeah, we do that a lot. And people who are in my space, who are one-stop shops, like my colleagues earlier today, that's not uncommon to kind of coupled together, and I think it's more fun when we get to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. All right, Paul and Team J&J, last chance for feedback from your 20+ person posse back there.
So Steve, we love your presentation. We had a lot of questions. I think you did a great job in really getting to the capabilities and not bogged down about you too much.
Yep.
So one of the questions we do have on a personal note is, what are you a doctor of?
I have a doctorate in instructional technology and distance education. So Zoom is my jam pre-COVID.
So again, I think leveraging some of the credibility of who you are and your background definitely helps quite a bit. Now, the one thing we also were questioning is this really catered to LGBT or not really?
No, it's
type of approach, right?
It's a fantastic question. So the Lions program, which of course is based on the book, while it's focused on LGBTQ leadership, I actually have a lot of allies who go through it, which is awesome. But all of my other keynotes and all those things, no, they're meant to be broader. Now, with that being said, I am working with a lot of LGBT ERGs. So that's the cool thing about the message of inclusivity. We can talk allyship, we can talk very specific, and I work with the client beforehand to say, what story do you want to share? And we can kind of take the conversation in those directions.
Yeah, and we love the kind of spin because I got involved in unconscious bias in my sales days over 10 years ago, introduced it to J&J.
Nice.
And we love your opposite spin of conscious inclusion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people tease me sometimes when they say, "Oh, Paul, that's unconscious bias," and I said, "No, it wasn't. It was I consciously said that."
Nice.
And so I think it's probably a better approach because we can't expect people to automatically do things. They have to truly consciously so look at that. And I'm just trying to think of any other. I'd probably say that I know you were going through a lot of information, but I would have loved to see maybe one tidbit of you explaining one of the activities that you actually do to make people go, "Oh, that's interesting," right?
Yeah.
Just to give us a little bit of appetite to what you actually provide, rather than being so top level. And I know you're trying to get a lot, and I think you did a great job in narrowing down to one specific area.
Yeah.
Which I tell people sometimes we want to explain end to end everything I do.
Right.
You got to. I would probably say go a little bit slower.
Yep.
In that area because you were really speaking fast because you're trying to get into 5 minutes. The question is, could you have narrowed it down a little bit more, slow down the pace a little bit so all the audience can understand exactly what you're doing and what you're trying to do? Because we loved your sayings. Would you say awesome? I'm trying to remember
my army of awesomeness.
Yes. and you should have been incorporating to say, here's the size of my company. I'm a small company. However, I have a group, a network of individuals that can specialize in anything at a quick notice. So I think you kind of said it, but how do you kind of slowly put this in the mode where we can all digest it and understand all the things that you do, because you have some great things. And Bill Gunn and Charlene Vickers met with you, I think, last year, and they remembered you. So that's a great thing. And so we would love to kind of talk to you again in the very near future.
Awesome. Thank you for that feedback. And it's funny. And I was very propulsive with the keynotes because one, a marketing coach of mine said, success leaves clues. And I've always loved that phrase. And in this time period with Black Lives Matter, people really focusing on being more inclusive and COVID-19, the virtual keynotes are going awesomely crazy. And what I love is because of this situation, my scalability is awesome. I'm not on a plane. I was supposed to be traveling pretty much every week this year. That doesn't happen now. So I can put these in and it's been really wonderful, but it's no pun intended, J&J, it's the gateway drug. Once people see the keynotes, they're like, wow, you do more. You have a 4-week online training program. You have this 8-week thing. Let's talk more. And that's absolutely by design. On the opposite side, I actually created like a book club in a box. So for clients who don't have a lot of money but still want to get some sort of exposure, then I buy the books at a cheaper rate. I send kind of like a leader script kind of thing, and then I come in like 2 months later and do like a free virtual book club Q&A. We just did one for another pharma that's just like 2 weeks ago, and it was awesome, and I love it. And hey, if I can fan the flames to an LGBTQ leadership movement, then things are cool.
That's great. One last feedback is each slide should tell a story. So if you're saying we can cater your needs based on the size of your organization, people will remember that, right? And then you can say, here's the 5 programs. But think about what's the key takeaway you want people to remember off that slide. Even if they can't get down to the details, at least they know, what you can do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Fantastic. Any final closing thoughts, Paul, Priscilla, Claire, before we just generally with all of our pitchers, not just Dr. Steve, if you had any kind of final thoughts before we take a quick break before community and conversation?
Priscilla, why don't you start?
It was very good. I enjoyed all of the pitches today. I still think that one final thought, I would say, just be video ready with your body language, your movement. Some of us tend to talk more with our hands, and so you end up looking at the hands more than the mouth. So just, you have to practice make perfect. We all have to do it. So that's the only thing, because you got your 1 good minute to get it out. And if I'm looking more at your hands than your face, then, that can be a distraction. So just something to think about.
Great point, especially with NGLCC having matchmakers coming up in the next couple of weeks. Never wrong time to be practicing some camera matchmaking skills. So great point. Thank you, Priscilla. And thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Claire?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. So many talented businesses in this community, which is really cool to see. Everyone did such a good job. And just really proud of everyone to get up there and do it. I know that that's not easy, even though we are on Zoom, sometimes that can make it even harder. So definitely give yourselves a pat on the back. Everyone should be really proud of themselves.
Yes, I agree.
Well said. Thank you. And to J&J, Paul, and your entire team that you've got behind the scenes and virtually and on the phone and all in, joining us across Facebook Live and everything. Thanks for hosting and being a great partner that helped make today possible. Why don't you go ahead and close this out with some final pitch feedback?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I always tell people is, possess self-awareness. Accept constructive feedback. I never say criticism, because criticism, the wall goes up, right? It's about feedback, and we're not perfect. And even if I did presentations over and over again, there's times I screw up, but you become more and more aware of what you could do better, and keep on pushing yourself to improve and to improve and to improve. And these sip and pitches, I think, enable everyone to see different styles of delivery. And what I would probably say is connect with those people that you feel makes you more comfortable in the way you can deliver your message. Because sometimes we try to take that cookie cutter approach that it's only one way, and we can see from nail polish all the way that there was a different way of really telling your story. But keep in mind that saying, if you're more comfortable the way you deliver it, you're going to do a better job. So pick the good and bad things of what you see out there. And I'll say, focus on the good. Say, I want to be more like the way she delivered it. I want to be more like the way he delivered it. And take those things. And that's how you build your presentation skills long-term. And then it becomes more comfortable to you when you present and try to sell yourself, because let's face it, selling is not a fun thing for most people. Presenting, remember, people say death, they'd rather die than present, and that's a common knowledge that most people don't like public speaking. So the more you do it, the more you start feeling comfortable, and the more you'll be able to tell your story without even seeing a page or a word on the page. You just say it. So I encourage you to do that. Great presentations. We're thrilled because there are some companies that we would like to hear all about you companies. And I think next week and some of the other events that are happening for NGLCC, we're looking forward to that.
Well, we're looking forward to having you all there. Thank you again to Paul and Claire and Priscilla. You are rock stars. We appreciate you spending this Friday with us. And to everyone who's here, don't go away. We're going to take a quick 2-second pause so that we can stretch our legs. More importantly, you can pour a drink. Even you West Coast folk, it's 2 o'clock somewhere. You deserve it. We're going to be right back for community and conversation, some great conversation with our friends at J&J and with each and every one of you. So we'll be back in just about 2 minutes, and we'll see you on the other side. Thanks. Okay, everyone, welcome back. Thanks so much for sticking with us through this fantastic day of NGLCC LGBT Sip and Pitch. There we go. It's Friday. It is so great to still be here with you and to have so many of you staying with us for the afternoon. My name is Jonathan Lovitz. I'm a senior VP at the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce. My pronouns are he and him, and I want to shout out the other members of Team NGLCC with us: Lauren, Sean, Jason, Jada, Maxine, and I hope I didn't forget anyone else. If I did, please message me. Team NGLCC is the hardest working people in small business, and we're here to help you any way we can, including bringing us all together for great community conversation moments like we're going to have this afternoon. A big shout out to Paul and the team at Johnson & Johnson for hosting today's Sip and Pitch and being a fantastic NGLCC supporter over many, many years. We are going to take this time community conversation to do a few different things. We're going to use breakout rooms for some facilitated conversation. We're also going to do some Johnson & Johnson polling to keep us on our toes, and most importantly, come back together for open dialogue and conversation as we close out this yet another big week together. So let's go ahead and get started. Paul, are you back with us and the team from J&J? Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. They provided some fantastic questions, and we're going to start with one on a little J&J history. If you know when J&J was founded in 1886 to make what type of element? Everybody should be able to vote on their screen now. Is it Band-Aids, dental floss, or sterile surgical dressings and sutures? Can you all see the poll?
Yes.
Awesome. Everyone, a few more seconds. Wait, uh-oh. Stand by, we'll, there we go. Move on to that and let that load. Are folks able to vote? It wasn't showing up on my end, so I'll make sure.
They did vote. There was 75% was for the third, and roughly 25% for Band-Aid, the first answer. There it goes.
Oh, thank you. It was not showing up on my end. Thanks for keeping me honest, Paul. That's a good tech tag teaming. I appreciate that. So what was the right answer, Paul?
Charlene, I believe, is the last one. First mass-produced sterile surgical dressings.
That's right. Fantastic. Thank you. Let's try question two. Paul, you want to read that for us?
Here we go. I'll do my disc jockey voice.
There you go.
Right? The values that have guided Johnson & Johnson since the company's founding were written down in a 1943 document that is one of the oldest statements of corporate responsibility. It is called what?
Your choices are the credo, the mission, or the statement. Give everyone about 5 more seconds. And all right. Can you see results on your end?
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. What do we got, Paul?
75% were correct. Our credo is our guiding post that we've been using since 1943.
Oh,
and it's only been modified a few times along that over 75-year journey.
And along that journey, you've helped a lot of small businesses and diverse suppliers grow into much bigger contract-ready customers and companies, many of whom get to work in the J&J supply chain. So let's ask this one last question before we go into our first breakout. Go ahead. J&J's founded its Supplier Diversity and Inclusion Program in what year? Everyone, about 5 more seconds. All right. How'd we do? Paul and J&J team, do we? Can you see answers on your end?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
How'd we do?
Go, Charlie.
Oh, I was gonna say, you did great. Most of the people got the answer right. It is 1998. So we're in this business over 20 years.
Charlene was 4 years old when that started.
Exactly.
Thanks for being with us and all your hard work putting everything together. We really appreciate it. All right, so we are going to use our breakout room tools to go into our a quick conversation so that you can get to know the folks on your end a little bit better, and so that we can each share some more business ideas and connections. So we are going to send you into rooms where you should have a member of Team NGLCC or a corporate partner that can help facilitate the conversation. We have, since we have usually two sets of folks with us, corporate partners as well as business owners. For the corporate partners, we want you to think about the top 3 burning questions you would ask a supplier. And for the business owner, flip that around. What are the top questions you would ask a supplier diversity professional? Luckily enough, we've got some of the best ones with us today. So we're going to send you into these rooms. We'll be back out here in a little while to discuss some of the outcomes. And if you need anything during this time, hit return to the main room and you'll be able to ask any one of us a question. So here we go. Be sure to click join room and we'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, it's a bit of a jarring restart, but welcome back. We're glad to have you with us. Thank you. How'd it go? Thumbs up all around? Good grooves? Awesome. We normally do this in sort of small group conversational style, so folks can sometimes have a group reporter, but we want to open this up to everyone. We're actually going to stop the share screen, and so we can go full Brady Bunch style in your speaker view. So let's go ahead and just take folks who would like to. We can should be able to unmute. If not, let me do the hand raise, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. Make sure everyone can. Yes. Anyone want to go first?
I'm seeing a hand raise from Dr. Steve.
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
Milo.
Hello. I had the pleasure of kind of being like for at least a few minutes and the sole, until Shanice awesomely showed up, I was like the sole J&J friend, which is cool. But one of the things that Paul kind of shared, which I can't believe I didn't know this, and I love this, and I think everybody here should know this. Teal Book is a way to kind of you put your stuff in from a supplier diversity database where other organizations use it. So I know I've struggled with copying and pasting my stuff in so many different portals for each specific client or potential client, where here's a way to maybe kind of do more of a one-stop shop, or at least a little stop shop. So check that out if you haven't heard about that. And thanks again, Paul, for that tidbit.
That's great, Stephen. And a good reminder to everyone is more than ever coming to the NGLCC Engagement Center with their RFP requests and just to learn more about identifying suppliers. And unlike most portals, the NGLCC database allows you to include PDFs and it's fully media rich. So they're getting a really wide array of information on your company. So we definitely encourage you to go into your my.nglcc.org profile, since that's where all the corporate partners are going for information on you. I see Sean Franklin, the head of our engagement center, nodding. That is his wants you to do it right. So thank you. And if you ever have questions on building out a specific profile, that's what we're here for. Who else? Do we have another hand ready? Somebody want to chat? Charlene, did I say, were you just camera shot posing, or were you putting a hand up?
I'm posing.
Richie, did I see your hand go up? I'm sorry.
I do have a comment, but I'd love to hear from Milo, and then I'll jump in. How about that?
Excellent. So we'll go Richie to Milo, and then you'll jump in, Charlene. Perfect.
Okay. So for our group, burning questions, corporate burning questions, like what is your experience level? What sets you apart from competition? Those are things that you want to ask. Do you hang on, let me see. Do you ask the corporation what their preferred mode of communication is? Because that's very important. We were talking about, okay, you sent several emails and you met at somewhere, and you have several emails, and then you're now throughout the whole weekend you're buried right on the bottom of the emails. So they basically ask for the preferred communication for both. And then on the supplier questions, the group came up with really good questions too. What's the best way to get into the correct contact at your organization without pestering the supplier diversity team? I thought that was really good. And then how else can you get corporations' attention? That question is really good as well. And then we also discuss around for the suppliers to ask the corporate as well, to ask what are the other engaging activities that they're doing for their vendors. Are the vendors just sitting in idle, or are the corporation connecting them together to do business together? Because there might be some opportunities in between that can be shared amongst the group.
Great point. Thank you. Good, great stuff out of your group. Milo.
So we couldn't hear our diversity to supplier. It turned out she was talking in a different room and didn't know, kind of odd. So we were a supplier-based group, and so the biggest question came up was, beyond being in your supplier portal, which we get as the first step, how can we become known in your organization if there's not typically an RFP for what we do? How do areas in there just know we exist if they're not going that way? Because most people who find me Google me. So I want people Googling me and the other people in my group. Another question that came up was, what dollar figures and % do you spend on diverse suppliers to make sure that you're meeting your goals and needs? And the third one was, what is your corporation's idea of what diversity is? And does it include LGBT/BE? Because there might be companies out there that do include it, but aren't members of NGLCC. So unless we ask that question, we don't know.
Great points. And, I always want to remind folks too, it's not just corporations too. We are expanding now to an ever-growing number of government agencies. We wouldn't be getting there without the support of our corporate partners helping advocate for that. So you've got states and cities and major utilities and everything in between, also including LGBTs and more along the way. Yeah, Deb Quade, we got to have a little chat about Michigan. We got some heads to knock over there. Who wants to go to, I'm sorry, Charlene, you had some points you wanted to make. Oh, come off mute.
I was. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yeah. So I was going to expound on some of the points, because there seems to be a lot of questions around kind of how do you make yourself visible to corporations. And I was going to ask Natalie to chime in, because we were having a great conversation in our session as well. Well, I was actually in two, one on video and I was in a different session on the phone. So that was kind of fun. But anyway, we were having a great conversation there. But I actually have a question that I wanted to tee up of the LGBT BEs on the line, and that is, I want to understand what you guys are doing as companies to network with other companies as well, because I do believe that for small businesses in particular, really one part of your strategy these days almost has to be, connecting, forming networks, right, within your area of expertise with other companies that have either supplementary or complementary capability to you, and perhaps, in some cases, kind of approaching the J&Js of the world, as a network, right, versus individually on your own. I believe that's going to be really important to be able to compete in the long run with some of the big guys. So that's the question I wanted to tee up.
That's a great question. Let's actually use that. If any suppliers on the line want to jump in and talk about how they're teaming or how they're using things like some of the NGLCC networking events or anything that you're doing in the community to get together and find more resources to keep growing your capabilities and scale. Anybody want to jump in? Brandon? See if can you come? There we go.
Hey, so in the networking.
Uh-oh, we lost you. Come back.
Now?
There we go.
Okay. It's having a continual relationship. So it's really, you're using these events to meet people and to continue the dialogue. And it's not always about, hey, do you have some work for me? Mm-hmm. It's, ideas come up. What do you, basically sharing of ideas. You become a thought partner, and I think that's the best way to go. And the other good thing, we were talking about this in the room that I was in, for small businesses, you have to go through this. It's like a training wheels period, like learning to ride a bike. And so what is it that you can be doing to demonstrate the capacity that your business has? I mean, we've been in business for 4 years, but have we worked with a Johnson & Johnson? No. And especially when you're talking about the scale, the scale of what it is that they're doing, there's a lot of trust that has to go into that relationship. So I think that not expecting that something's going to happen right away, it's really building a relationship so that they can get to know you. So I think that's a key strategy.
It's such a great point. I want to shout out someone who's on the line as well. Kelly Parkin, did we lose you? I saw your video up a second ago. I hope I didn't. Oh, I was just going to toss to someone. Of course I lost her. Ain't that 2020? I was going to introduce Kelly Parkin, who's one of our outstanding chamber leaders, to talk about, one of the most, Steve could certainly point to it. He knows the artist formerly known as MBA Orlando. Now it's the Orlando Pride Chamber, if I'm not mistaken. Your local networking group can be of your local chamber, who often is working closely with your local women's chamber, your local Hispanic chamber, et cetera, can be one of the best places to find collaborative partners and people who know about scale and things like that. So it's especially as more and more of us are using Zoom to connect like this, every local chamber is doing meetings like this, and even some are doing sip and pitch programs much like this. So don't ever underestimate the power of your local network. Anybody else that want to turn into Charlene's great point about how you're leveraging all of these connections to sort of make yourself known and establish that positioning so you are ready for that J&J contract? Shanice?
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
And to your point, I was going to point out the local chamber, and that's pretty much what I do, is try to be as engaged as possible in the local chamber. I do volunteer with the chamber. I'm on the board. I'm the membership chair as well. But the key here is, especially since we're in a very virtual world, the follow-up is going to be key. I know that the chambers try to facilitate as much as they possibly can, but at the end of the day, it's up to us to create and build those relationships. For example, I loved the event that was put together in the local, I'm in the Greater Houston LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and Tammy and the team put together an amazing event. It was speed networking, where everyone got into a room one-on-one with each other. So instead of a small group, it was actually one-on-one. And you got through maybe like 6 different rounds of it. And it was amazing because you got to spend time one-on-one with someone. And then the key there is, after you spend that time really quick and make that connection, schedule a follow-up where you can have that 15 to 30 minute, maybe even an hour meeting, depending on what it is you're trying to talk about. I think that's really, really key. The follow-up is totally key, especially in this virtual environment.
Well said. And I want to ask our outstanding hosts at J&J to expand on that a little, because I think there's a right way and a whole bunch of wrong ways to follow up. And also, if you could talk a little bit about the, helping everyone understand too, the relationship with supplier diversity professionals is your supplier's agent, basically. You're coming to bat for them to help them, cut through the red tape and smash down that door and mix all the metaphors so that they can be in the ring at the right time. And really get seen in front of those incumbents. So helping people understand too, you're not always often rarely the final decision maker. So be nice. You're there to help them out. So who wants to take that? Natalie, do you want to take that first stab?
Sure, I could take a stab, and I'm sure then my team will pile on and correct all the things that I say that are wrong. No. So yeah, a couple things that we were actually talking a little bit about this in our breakout. So I guess maybe just to directly answer your question, right, about tips. So first of all, cold emails often do not work. I mean, my inbox is as ugly as yours. So I hate to say it, but it just doesn't make you jump out. I think taking advantage of opportunities like this, like look at this opportunity and look at how few suppliers are actually here. So you're getting dedicated time that nobody else is getting. So for me, these types of events are really, really important. I love the speed networking. We've actually done that internally at J&J when we're trying to get leaders exposed to talent in the company. We've also done speed networking as a really effective tool. One of the things, though, that we're starting to do more of, or leaning towards at J&J, is hosting some of our own kind of meet and greet events with very targeted focus, right? So we want to have events where we say, okay, NGLCC, we're looking for this particular type of service or capability.
Like market research providers, for example.
What was that?
Like market research providers.
As an example, yes, like market research providers. And so we would turn to NGLCC and say, who are the best, best to meet this particular need? And we would describe our need as best as possible so that matching can happen, right? Because the ideal scenario is we, again, back to the liaison point, right, that we at J&J are making it as easy as possible for our category leaders. So my team here that you see here, like we're a center of excellence at J&J. We serve the 1,300 people in procurement that are buying things.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to bring to them the best we possibly can. So at these events, we say, okay, for your category, I'm going to bring you the best from all the different organizations that we work with for this opportunity, and let's match up as best as possible. So instead of just going to events like this, we're a little bit more open, also have events that are much more specific to what our needs are. So we're trying to do a little bit more of that. And then the other thing as well is that we've been leaning into some technologies like by Diverse, for example. And that's something where within our buying system, we have a way to indicate to requisitioners or to people that are doing the buying or requesting something in the system that it will pop up and say, you are a market research provider that is diverse, and you'll have a special tag that visually shows that. And so to help, with that selection process. I don't know, Charlene, you want to add anything else, or Eliza? What did you say? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, is that all you're doing? Just a few.
Yeah, I think it's go ahead. I was going to say, I think Natalie covered it well. There was one question. I think part of the question was around, how do we get past the supply diversity people to some of those decision makers, which I think is a fair question. The one thing I would say to that is, in a lot of cases, we do from a supplier diversity team, and it really kind of depends on the business needs, the supplier, and so forth. But we will, in a lot of cases, do some pre-screening, because we do want to any supplier that we put in front of the categories, and you can imagine we're all busy, right? So they're over here trying to, get us through COVID, right? They're doing all this work, right? So I don't want to send them 10 suppliers that probably won't fit for J&J and be able to meet their needs. So one of the benefits we have within our organization, I have a long history in supply chain. Natalie has a long history. Eliza, has a lot of great, rich experience across the organization. So we have the ability to do some initial vetting to say, okay, well, this supplier, can they stand up in a J&J, and so then pass them along. So that is, I know a lot of times you want to get to those category folks, and I understand that, but also understand we can really help you, first of all, get there, but also, trust us to do that initial screening. And we may say, not yet, but here's what we can do to help you get there. We've got mentoring programs. Paul is leading the work with the NGLCC right now to get our mentoring program going. He's already mentoring a supplier, actually, that we met with the Sip and Pitch, by the way. So he's already doing that, and we're continuing that. We've actually, through this, to Natalie's point in terms of this being a small group, we've actually, through the Sip and Pitches so far, had one supplier that's already gotten business with J&J, and a couple of times, and another supplier that's currently on an RFP. So, as Natalie indicated, these opportunities are great, to connect with great companies like yourself.
That is, it's such a, we say it all the time, but I'm glad we have it on tape today to be able to use for other people to say, you heard it from Natalie and Charlene. You don't get what you don't show up for, and you don't get what you don't ask for. So here are these programs, take advantage of it. And it's great to see more and more suppliers that are taking advantage of it and are participating in Matchmakers. And our Accelerate program that Lauren helps run is just, they're just taking suppliers to a whole nother level of readiness for big business. So if you don't use it, you can't be upset. You can't be mad that somebody else got the opportunity. So I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other final thoughts on these two topics from your groups about the top couple of things you wish you could ask someone or wish you had been told? I thought I saw one more hand. Yes, Bobby.
So I would say the one thing, things I wish I had been told. Be sure, even when you think you know everything, to keep trying something new, because this meeting is a case in point. I just found out about it because I was searching our local Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce to see what they were doing, that just as a new way to type of networking, and this event was on there. And just the idea of the elevator pitch, I'm in sales as well. We're in a different scope of things, but just hearing the critique of what you all did on the 6 pitches that I saw was really good. It may not be exactly applicable to what I do, but certain cues about how to present, how we are trying to use in our industry to remake this type of setting relevant, because it's very difficult when we're used to one-on-one presentations. So whatever we can do to learn more is helpful. But the other thing that I would wish is that when we are part of organizations like this, that oftentimes it takes an extra step, but to be sure that we are supporting each other, because oftentimes we still go with the easier route, which may be 10 cents less expensive, and it may be a lot faster. But the reason that we are part of these groups and we visit these meetings is because we want to support each other. So it's just being sure that we are cognizant and we make the extra effort to support each other's businesses.
That's so well said. And certainly I know something at NGLCC, we try to live that truth every day with putting money where our mouth is, with using suppliers to get our work done. Steve's been a speaker. We have, the visual behind me that you see, that's all of the beautiful visual work here is by Edge Factory, another great certified BE. And you really try everything that we can. We try to live that, because you're absolutely right, Bobby. I mean, when we're the LGBT community spends $917 billion on stuff every year. And if we make smart choices with it, we can affect everything from prices to inclusion to public policy. So think with your dollars. I'm not going to name names, but not all chicken nuggets taste the same. Some taste like they hate you. So why would you spend your money there? And a shout out, for that. We always try to make a point when we're using something like that. I could have gone for my makers, but I went with Republic Restoratives, a lesbian-owned certified distillery in the DC area, who converted some of her stills to make hospital cleaning equipment for COVID. So LGBTBEs taking care of others and trying to pay it back. So great point, Bobby. Brandon, you had your hand up one more time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So to follow up on what Bobby said, I think maybe another service offering for NGLCC for suppliers is actual training in that type of coalition building. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to approach corporate partners with a comprehensive solution, spread the wealth. Everyone has these different areas of expertise, and especially as more and more government agencies are coming online and recognizing our certification, teaming for our RFPs is the way to go if you're a small business. So teaming and this concept of not working in isolation is something that I think that we as a community need to get better at. We've gotten ourselves to this point. Now how do we begin to collaborate?
That's such a great point. And we'll definitely bring it back, because we did a webinar Wednesday early on when we went fully digital through COVID on how to build capacity by engaging other suppliers. Build that the transformer model of just stacking more suppliers together till you're unstoppable. And it was a really great conversation. I think we'll bring
I didn't see. Is that available?
It'll be on YouTube. Yeah, we'll put it in the wrap out notes.
Okay.
This sip and pitch, but that's such a great point. And as we would collaborate with the partners in the NBIC, the Hispanic Chamber, the US Black Chamber, WeBank, etc., there's suppliers just like you who would like to be perfect collaborators. So yeah, great point. Milo, you have one more point. Yeah, go ahead.
What Natalie was saying about experiencing each other totally different than just getting an email, and someone else was talking about the speed networking. What we're kicking off at the San Diego Equality Business Alliance, which is our chapter of NGLCC, is an event in October, which I want to invite you all to, which is going to be everyone gets 30 seconds, pitch. And to get a just sense of this big high energy, we're going to cut you off at 29 seconds. So be ready. And everyone going, I didn't know I needed that. And now somebody knows me. So if anyone would like to come to that, we'd love to have guests from around the country. I'll paste the URL below.
That's awesome. Very cool. Definitely something I want to see. Gary. Oh, Gary. Perfect.
I have a question. So we have never, well, no, that's not true. We have jointly bid with another diverse supplier just a couple of times over the years. Most of the time we're working with people that we have existing relationships with on the client side. We're already connected to the market researchers, and they hire us over and over. And then to do our work, we do have partners that we use to do our work, and it's a substantial piece of that. but we have 3 or 4 partners that we work with over and over because it's very, very specialized, and none of them have any sort of diversity certification. But the one partner that we work with the most is here in Philadelphia, and I think that they would, it's owned by 2 brothers, and I think that they would be open to doing something to demonstrate their commitment to diversity as an employer. So I guess my question is there anything that a partner like that it's not possible for them to have a diverse certification through their ownership structure, but are there any policies that they could demonstrate that would be, get us close to that?
That's a great question, and I would love to ask any of our J&J friends or Deb or anyone on the line, Richie as well, from when you're exploring straight or ally-owned companies to potentially be vendors with you, do you look at their D&I commitments and how they align with yours? And if something's out of whack, does that take them potentially out of the running? Anyone, feel free, please.
Paul? Yeah, I can interject. So the answer is yes, we definitely consider it, but it always gets down to the capabilities and is your company meeting the business needs of our business partners? So when any business partner comes to me, obviously they have, the scope of what they want to accomplish. We present suppliers to them that may meet that need. Obviously, we do a conscious effort to make sure that we have diverse suppliers, whether it's LGBT, veteran-owned, it could be across any of the gamut of diverse, suppliers. And again, they may have the opportunity to do an RFI or RFP, depending on do we really feel that they can meet the needs of the business. So that's probably something that we all have to consider the reality. But again, I think a lot of companies probably take the same approach, but for us, that's how we typically, or I'll say for my categories, that's how typically we normally look at that.
That's great. Deb?
Yeah, so we use what we call KSS, Kellogg Sourcing System, for quotes. And included in that is a question about, are you a diverse supplier? And do you report tier 2 spend? And then I've created a 5-point grading scale. So the only way you can get a perfect 5 is if you're a certified diverse supplier. But we still do have occasionally people say, nope, don't know what it is, don't do it. That's where you're the person that gets the bottom. So that's part of what we look at when we, create our spreadsheet and look at all the suppliers that are quoting business. But secondarily, our tier 2 reporting system is part of our supplier rating system. So people have to report all 4 quarters their diversity spend, and they have to meet the Kellogg goal, the percentage of spend goal, in order to get an average score. And then we build upon that. So if you attend diverse events, if you're a member of a chamber, if you have a titled supplier diversity professional, all of those things get you up to kind of a best in class. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing that we're just adding, and this is really something that I put in intentionally as part of our anti-racism program, is for the first time ever, and this is going to be voluntary, and again, it'll be a reward, not a penalty system, but I'm going to start to ask the demographics of our suppliers. Mm-hmm. So it'll be kind of a 3-pronged approach. At the beginning, we're asking you up front and we're putting you on notice that we have expectations that you'll do tier 2 reporting. In the middle, you're getting graded once a year for whether or not you're doing it, and the analytics of who you're utilizing. And then third is asking that question about demographics. But I wanted to, as long as I've got the microphone for a minute, Richie brought up something that I think is really valuable. And that was, it was kind of at the last minute, we didn't get a chance to really flesh it out, but asking people what else they're doing to engage suppliers with supplier diversity. And the reason that's really valuable is that a lot of us are doing a lot of things. And one thing that I'm doing, and I think it feeds into this conversation, is in order for my suppliers to be successful and support us in tier 2 spend, I've got to give them tools to be successful. So we have monthly medical meetings. We actually had 2 contracts this month from members. We normally do a face-to-face B2B, and we have about 600 people come in. We couldn't do it this year, but I'm looking at how to do it virtually next year. And then the other thing I'm doing is that the Black Hole of Calcutta, the supplier registration database. I'm now telling my tier 1 suppliers, if you've got a quote coming up and you need to have a diverse supplier, I'm not going to tell you to use this supplier. I can't do that. I mean, there are laws against that. And I cannot tell you this is who NGLCC has in their database because that's proprietary information. But what I can do is say, these are the suppliers in this category that have registered with Kellogg. And so therefore, registering with our database now has a reward for you because it's going to get you out to our tier 1 suppliers. So monthly, we are, providing people with medical meetings. Annually, our suppliers are at the B2B meeting with suppliers, and now on demand, we're providing lists of suppliers. So to answer your question, that's the approach that we're taking.
That's a great approach, and we're hearing more and more of what you were saying from a lot of our partners, particularly as there's such a focus now on equity and the creation of real economic growth and success for diverse communities, particularly for our intersectional diverse communities. And that D&I commitment across the whole company does factor into some decision making. It's great to hear that that's being put more and more front and center on folks, and that's really wonderful. In just the last few minutes we have before we wrap up and head to our weekend, I wanted to ask the J&J team if you had any final thoughts, anything you'd like to share. Remember to, we'll make this video and the recap of all the things, the top takeaways and learnings from today available to everyone who's on Facebook Live and in the NGLCC network. So anything you want to make sure you get out to the masses, we'll make sure we share it. So the floor is yours, with our thanks one more time for hosting this week.
Natalie?
Maybe I'll just say this is my third sip and pitch with NGLCC. I think the first one, Charlene was our posse leader, then Robin, and then Robin was the second, and today Paul. And I must say, I'm really impressed with all of the presenters each and every time. And, NGLCC, you guys just set the bar. We've been doing a lot of these different ones with different advocacy groups. But just the way that you present, the way that you visibly support the suppliers and the corporates is really impressive. So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you, the suppliers, for showing up today, and especially on a Friday, right? We're all like dead by Friday, but you seem to, with these sessions, it's always very energizing. So thank you.
That no less than 4 people picked up the glass to let you know how we made it through a Friday afternoon. So thank you, Elijah.
And I'll probably say from the suppliers, those still on, and I guess I encourage the NGLCC leadership here, is that use us as practice, because your first presentation may have been not great. Use us over and over again, because it doesn't mean you can't come back for a second or third time to hone your skills, because that's really what we're here to also help you, is to get better at what you're doing. So, that's what we encourage everybody here as small suppliers sometimes to turn into a big supplier one day, is honing your own skill set in order to be able to handle the scalability of a large corporation.
Well, thank you. And thanks for all the great commentary earlier in the afternoon, Paul. We really appreciate it. Charlene, Robin, Natalie?
I won't belabor it. I know the hour is getting late. And so I just will say ditto to everything Eliza said and Paul said. And Bill had the lead. Bill Gunn was here with us for the first couple of hours, but he continues to be thrilled with our partnership and how we're further developing it with NGLCC. And I know I enjoy every single engagement. You do really set the bar, and just appreciate all the quality great for our LGBT BEs, as well as the diverse supplier community at large. So thank you, and just excited about continuing our partnership.
Us too. Thank you.
We'll just go with cheers, and everybody have a good weekend. I don't know if you can see my glass. My glass is empty now, so.
My glass is not in my hand, but it's here.
Well,
Thank you, everyone.
you all.
Thank you so much.
Today. We appreciate you, your partnership, your collaboration. To everyone who's on the line who was with us all day, we appreciate it. Cheers. And if you do one thing before you sign off for the end of the day, go to iwillvote.com and make sure you are registered. If you have any questions, nglcc.com/vote. We are here to help. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you at the next Sip and Pitch Friday. Thank you again.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.